Hello and welcome to Eternal League. So a little bit different than my normal shindig here, but this is going to be the grand finals of the Eternal League here at Titan Esports. And I'm Daniel Golden Gad. I'm joined by Jacob. I don't know any of your other titles, but you can introduce yourself right now.
What's up? I'm Jacob. I don't usually cast, but I'm here for this exciting finals matchup. Some of the viewers might know me. I was on Bloom Gaming Moonflower as the mid laner. Played against Tilt a couple weeks ago. So I'm excited to see this finals matchup. I've got a lot on the line because I need them to win to prove that we were not that bad.
Yeah, second best if they win. So that does put you on the board if that does happen. So what do you think about the draft so far, at least?
Okay, what are we looking at? Yeah, okay. I think Tilt's Tilt's on the right and XG's on the left, right?
Mm-hmm.
That makes absolute sense. I think Rat Queen Delilah is by far and away Tilt's best player. Triple jungle bans makes absolute sense to me. We were running off some of these bans too when we played against them. I think Tilt, OTF, Yone ban makes sense. I've seen him tearing up a lot of games on that champion. The Volibear B1. I don't know if that's a top or a jungle. It's a good flex to have. And Aurora, which we are seeing a lot more of. I like that.
Yeah, just so for everyone who isn't familiar with Eternal, this is a new league to Titan Esports that is fearless and has a D4 cap. So that's kind of where our players stand currently. And we're going to see Viego Aurora, which is pretty strong. Could be top jungle or mid jungle duo, to be honest. Especially if it's Volibear, I feel like Aurora does pretty well into that matchup, so it gives that flexibility. The Hui is going to get grabbed up, so another flex pick as well. We're just seeing flex picks all across the board so far. Oh,
Yeah, I
never mind.
like
Shut down.
I really like the Hui pickup as soon as you see Aurora. Hui is one of Aurora's worst matchups, so it really discourages Aurora from going mid and kind of breaks that flex a little bit. And the Smolder lock in right away. That's interesting.
I expect this Smolder to go bot with that new lethality build. Maybe doesn't feel too threatened by an Ezreal being the AD carry of choice here. So I could see that being the angle. Karma gonna get locked as a ban, and that's not too surprising. Karma Ezreal definitely, especially if you're gonna put the Smolder down there, definitely can threaten dives and kills pretty often. So that's actually a good sight there.
Yeah, I imagine that XG now is going to be looking to ban some of these frontliners down. Smolder definitely likes to play more of a front-to-back style, and Tilt Esports don't have a lot of champions that can... there's the Ornn too. Tilt don't have a lot of champions so far that can play that kind of style with Smolder, so I assume they're just going to take some safe blinds away from Witherneck and try and discover where this Aurora is going.
Kench extremely strong on the patch. If you've played against this champion, you'll know he can one-shot most of the squishies in the game right now, if given enough time. So you're definitely gonna need to pick some protection, and protection they pick, Maokai is gonna get locked in. Also could technically get flex, but I think at this point it's more likely Volley is going straight into the jungle, and the Maokai is gonna end up top. From what I've just at least seen from Maokai for the most part. Oh, support.
Ooh.
We're swapping up everything. I don't know what to expect here. Obviously, I haven't been here. Is that normal, Maokai support?
You see Maokai support some games. I wouldn't say it's super common, but ooh, the Camille, I like that. So we're gonna get pretty spicy in the top lane. I wouldn't say
Yeah.
that Maokai support is super common, but it definitely gets pulled out uh, decently often when Maokai is locked in. But
Yeah. This is a pretty good look, to be honest. What do you, how do you feel about either of these teams? Who do you think has an advantage coming into it?
um, as somebody who played against both teams, I felt that Tilt, when I played against them, were the far stronger team. I do think that XG has the stronger draft this game. I just much prefer the Hui against the Aurora. I think that Spoobert on a carry like Aatrox is always something to fear. And so I'm not sure. I think I usually favor Tilt as a team going into this matchup, but I like XG's draft better this game. So I think we'll have an exciting one.
Yeah, that definitely sets the scene there, and yeah, we're gonna get right into it. We're pretty standard 5 point here. I will say, as the game kind of scales on, I like the idea of the Maokai actually because it does make particularly map movements from the Viego gonna be a bit harder in the late game because obviously you're playing around Smolder win condition. That's just how that champion works, but um, it at least is able to curve that kind of speed of that scaling a little bit because you get to have a bit more objective control than normal. And the Hui as
Yeah.
well for good poke, so vision control plus Hui, very classic combo.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see particularly what comes out of the top lane this game. I know that both these top laners like to scrap early, and these are definitely two champions that like to themselves a lead out of lane phase. So I'd love to keep my eye on that. Bot lane, I don't think will be too exciting. Ezreal's range and Smolder's inability to fight early usually makes this lane not a very fun one to see, but who knows, maybe these teams will shake this up. It is finals, so we might see some aces up the sleeve from both these teams.
Yeah, this also being a best of 5 means you get to experiment a little bit more. Obviously, it's a little bit trickier with Fearless since you don't want to sacrifice all your strong picks immediately. Um, but, you know, if you want to go for more experimental draft, Game 1's definitely the place to do it. And, yeah, we're seeing pretty standard, nothing too crazy. There is a bit of trading going on the top side. Aatrox established a push, so I doubt we'll go for a cheater, might go for some extra poke under turret. Viego clearing towards top side, and Volibear just gonna also mosey on up top too.
Yeah, pretty much as to be expected. Both junglers started bot side and they're just full clearing to top because they know that this is the volatile lane. This is probably where everything's going to go down. Both top laners have some kind of engage and skirmish potential. So I expect to see some fighting at least in the top lane or on this crab when it spawns. Depends on
Yeah,
also how mid lane goes, if either of these mid laners can get that priority to help up there.
yeah. So far, it's been going a little bit in Aurora's favor, at least poke wise. But I don't anticipate Hui to be able to die in this matchup at any point. It's just more little level differential early on. Viego is clearing a bit faster. We'll have a bit of tempo, but there's a nice ward there by Aatrox to at least give awareness that he'll be there first. On the bot side, I mean, this is pretty much as prim and proper as it's gonna get. You're just gonna farm it up all the way because you have Ezreal who can't really kill, and then Smolder who only really cares about farming.
Yep. Spoobert here is respecting that gank. Rat Queen Delilah then gets spotted on the vision. Walks in, spots the Volibear, and this is probably going to be a bit of a skirmish already. Okay.
Yeah, they're looking for it, and they actually do find the kill onto Camille here. Rat Queen Delilah wants to claim it on Spoobert, now has the claim on the body. Aatrox is just going to go down. I mean, that is a little bit too quick. I don't think they anticipated a ward on that top side, but in the mid lane, in the meantime, a nice flash forward from Albino is going to secure a kill. We didn't get to see that one. Maybe we'll be able to see it on replay in a bit. And bot side, going to have McPhee's actually get knocked up. This is dangerous. Going to have to flash away and just going to barely survive with the help of that. You definitely don't want to be giving kills early, and this is the weakest point of Maokai's support, kind of why it got stopped getting played. It lost so many base stats that it made it much more difficult to actually play out this matchup well. And Kaz making sure this wave can't push in.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
Here's the replay on that on the mid lane fight here. OTF takes a pretty aggressive trade here. Albino might just be waiting for cooldown, just gonna flash forward, I imagine. After QE goes down, there's no damage threat here left for Hui.
Yep.
Just gonna keep on waiting. So that's a extend play. So another one comes through.
Oh, he
uses
dodges
the
the
E.
E there.
Just gonna flash forward.
Slash
Auto.
auto. Okay.
W comes up. Yep.
Makes enough sense.
Pretty standard there. I don't think anything too crazy. On the in the picture-in-picture, you can see Camille actually getting chased out of lane by Aatrox. So, well, this is not exactly what you want. Not going to be able to find the Q2 to actually extend into a kill. In the meantime, Rat Queen Delilah going to grab up the Drake. Grubs are not even spawned yet, so this is actually extremely early. With the help of the Prow they got off of burning Maokai's flash earlier, but guess what?
Yeah.
Top
I
lane
like
pressure.
this. I like this a lot from XG. Kaz was hovering around top and knew that they were going for Drake, so the split map play was, let's help Spoobert hold this freeze. Camille is way too scared to walk up, retreats into her jungle. OTF reads the play that top lane is now where everything is happening. They walk into the jungle together and they completely deny Camille. That's probably 2 full waves, I think, that he dropped there. So Spoobert is sitting pretty in this top lane. Kaz with 2 kills. This is about as good as they can have of an early game for XG.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really come out to a lead here when you are against Smolder, of course. This is a bit more different of a Smolder if you haven't watched League much lately. Like, this lethality one at least scales a bit quicker. I mean, not necessarily scales, but it hits a power point earlier where you're not as useless for as long. McPhee's just going to go for the W here. KTL does not cleanse immediately.
Yeah, and they're just going to chase him down there. He uses the flash. Mei flashes forward, misses the Q with the barrier. Oh, the barrier was not enough. And Mei is going to be traded there.
I'm pretty surprised that play went through like that. I thought KTL for sure would just cleanse. Flash W from the Tom Kench, wants the kill, has Aurora in the area, gonna W forward. Albino's just gonna commit the ultimate as well. McPhee's might find a trade kill. Albino barely survives, and that's gonna be a 2-for-1 on the bot side, and that's gonna put 4-4 on the table as well.
Yeah, that was about as disastrous as it could have gone for XG, I think. KTL, his wave was left in a pretty decent spot as well, so he not only gets the trade kill, burns 3 summoners on his own, but he also gets to keep his cleanse, crucially, very important for those Volibear ganks. There's a bit of trading goes on the top side still.
Yeah.
Oh,
they're gonna
popping ult.
Yeah, that's actually pretty surprising, but I guess there isn't much threat, but that does leave you open to getting dove later if the jungler does commit up towards that side. And Viego is pathing towards top. Obviously, Grubs, while that play was happening, had a bit of a fight. We got one Grub to 2, so TES not feeling too worried about it. XG, obviously they want to extend the lead, and I would actually assume you just try and dive the Camille, especially with no flash. Like, you may be able to just get away with a cheat play with Volibear ult. But looks like they're very concerned about this bot lane.
Yeah, we'll see what they like to do about the top lane situation. I'm always very wary of diving a Camille. She has so much outplay potential with her passive and ult, but if Spoobert keeps getting great trades like this and just whittling him down, I'm sure that they will make the play eventually topside to capitalize on this Camille.
Yeah, there's a bit of a desync here. Rat Queen Delilah actually goes for a back here. Volibear in the area, not actually going to commit to any play. Actually worried now there is a little bit of a desync here. Mei is going to go and get out actually with the E there, and now KTL is just completely out of position. McPhee's kind of getting dangerously low, going to have to commit that Volibear ultimate to actually secure the kill, but that's 2 for nothing in the bot side. Yes, a lot of cooldowns were burned, but you'll take that to at least stop what could be a little scary. And now on the top side, Weatherneck just going to go for an ultimate here and actually land onto Spoobert, and it's a pretty classic combo. But Spoobert's actually going to outplay. Nice. Q2 is going to secure the kill there, and it's going to be traded 1-for-1. So things going the way of XG. I mean, you'll take a 1-for-1, especially when you end up getting both ultimates burned on you. So, and with no World Ender either. So that was pretty much as good as it could have gone, considering the circumstances.
XG is just coming up huge in these plays. The bot lane specifically, that was just Mei and McPhee's living there on 1 HP, and then Kaz with the counter gank. Tilt Esports, sorry, not respecting the jungle presence quite enough down toward the bot lane, and they are going to pay for it. And then Spoobert with the masterclass of an outplay, manages to get something out of a really sticky situation. And XG have found themselves in a 1,500 gold lead at 10 minutes.
Yeah, they should be careful on this bot side. Kaz is in the area waiting in that bush. They know it is control warded, so they definitely are aware that he could be in that bush, but gonna play it safe, make sure nothing actually does occur. I mean, it seems like, for the most part, it seems like TES bot lane seems to be the one initiating most of these fights. So Volibear just kind of hovering in the area in case they end up going for another one. But Weatherneck is having a rough time, only down 24 CS at the very least, but that is still a significant advantage considering how the kills have gone as well. I don't anticipate the Camille to be able to do anything for the next maybe 10 minutes of scaling, just due to how Camille kind of functions.
Yep, Weatherneck has definitely been on the receiving end of some hurt here. That heads-up play from XG on the first Drake trade to punish Weatherneck a lot top lane, as well as the 1v2 outplay, and that unfortunate 2v2 early game means that he is going to be out of this game for a while. He's going to be looking to farm up and get his 2 items. And
Yeah, but there's a dive coming on the top
dive.
side. Kaz heard what I was saying earlier. Gonna get the knock-up on the hook shot there and just deny it. And the TP is gonna get blown here for Albino Sunbear. So, I mean, that's the play I foretold much prior. And now Albino Sunbear has to be extremely careful. Still has the volley ultimate. Gonna chase out, but not gonna be able to get there in time. Just gonna walk it out. And now CA Colin and Rat Queen Delilah on the top side. Kaz in a no man's land currently. Gonna have to ult, but Rat Queen Delilah is gonna get the reset. Now has the damage to secure Spoober as well. So a huge map rotation here. They want the fight still though. McFeed's gonna commit the ultimate. Will TP committed from Camille. Just gonna call off the play, but I mean, they pretty much salvaged most of that play just because of how long it took to actually try and take down Albino Sunbear. Nice extended chase there from TES.
Yeah, XG got a little too excited there. They smelled the blood in the water, but unfortunately with Rat Queen Delilah around the corner and KTL and Colin roaming up there, that was just, they bit off a little bit more than they could chew, but now we're getting another fight in the grub pit.
Yeah, Rat Queen Delilah just gonna go down there. I mean, there's nothing you could do really there. Just gonna get Maokai W'd secured. 3 for 3 grubs, so no one's gonna have that benefit of the mites. And yeah, it's gonna go back to a bit of farming. Albino Sunbear wants a bit of a trade, does not have the ult here. Maokai has no flash, so can't commit it. And also the unending despair, unable to connect there. So, just gonna keep it going. I'm curious to see what items everyone's sitting on, so yeah. See Sundered Sky on Volibear, pretty standard right now. I've seen some Shojin though, you go like Shojin AP, so going a little bit more tanky. Sundered Sky on the top side. Kaz already at Weather Mech again.
Yeah.
This is your strong side, you play to your strong side. I mean, in solo queue it's a different story, but in these coordinated games you pretty much just play through your strong side every single time. And you're really seeing the effect of it.
Yeah, Albino Sunbear's been on the, he's going in with the ultimate. Okay, Rat Queen Delilah comes in, finds the stun. Is it going to be enough? Oh, the ultimate is just enough. The Maokai W doesn't go through, and he gets the fear off, and that's going to be Rat Queen Delilah coming out on top of this trade.
Yeah, and that means that Albino Sunbear is going to get some comfort in this lane, at least to shove out. May's getting forced out as a result of McFeed's going mid, and actually he's going to get ulted here. This could be a potential kill. Ult comes over, nice hard flash away, but it's gonna be too little, too late here for May. And guess who's getting some attention in the top side yet again? As now chasing Weathermech. Doesn't have much in the tank, but now Rat Queen Delilah is in the area. This could get kind of dicey. Doesn't have the ult for the execute damage, and no Aurora in the area. Spoobert's ult just ran, and now he's just gonna get one-shotted. Kaz standing on the body, making sure you can't body. Kaz is gonna deny it and fail the flash over the wall.
Wow.
It's messy, but it's working out for the most part for TES. Now they find themselves back ahead in gold after, you know, about 5-6 minutes where they were down 2K. So there are things happening in this game.
There are. I think this is XG feeling a lot of the pressure of that Smolder and giving the first 2 Drakes. They know that they are going to get outscaled this game, and I think they're just trying to play topside. They're trying to make too much happen. I honestly think that the discrepancy in top lane can be played for, but I don't think that all these plays need to be forced. These dives, these overextensions into the jungle, because this is what Viego thrives in. He thrives in cleaning up these really messy, scrappy fights and just taking over games. And you can tell 6 kills onto Rat Queen Delilah's Viego is definitely a scary sight when you also have the Smolder farming his way up down on bot lane.
Yeah, and my mind goes back to when they got the initial kill onto Weatherneck. Sorry, I was saying it wrong for a bit. Like earlier, and then the grubs were up. They could have actually just claimed up all 3 for free, and then they would have ended up 6 grubs, and that would have just been a more advantageous play. But instead, they go for the extended. So I think it definitely is what you're talking about. I mean, you have 2 Drakes on the table, and it's a Smolder in the bot lane. I'd feel worried too, and now you have Rift Herald to accelerate, and if mid breaks here, you're going to have to worry about this Tom Kench pretty much being able to roam wherever he wants. So they want the fight, they want to deny as much as the gold as they can. Emil's going to come in, Unending Despair over CA Collins, going to secure the kill there, and now a huge Aurora ult is going to come through, but it's not going to be enough damage to get any resets for Viego, and now they're on the back foot, they're stepping back. McFeeds is going to just peel off here, and May arrives late. KTL is going to take some poke. And if Smolder can't clear the wave here, this could be a little scary. They might lose some pressure. Just going to go for some resets, grab up the Drake, stop the stacking. And that's as good as you can ask for if you're XG Ratatoskr.
Yeah, that's a pretty big play for XG, all things considered. The Hui ult and the Maokai ult coming in clutch there for some great synergy. Allows Spoober to really do his thing in that fight. May got to farm up on the bot side while that was happening too, didn't lose out on too much in the mid lane. That tier 1 going down is obviously a massive objective to get in this mid game, but all things considered, XG is pretty happy that they were able to delay the dragon stacking. Oh, Weatherneck.
Yeah, Weatherneck.
Oh, no.
The tail is old as time at this point. The hookshot's going to get followed by the advance there from McFeed's. Going to get some damage down. Weatherneck surviving quite a long time, and the knockup's going to come through from CA Colin. Now TP over from Albino Sunbear. Does not have the ult here. Going to get the reset from Rat Queen Delilah, and now XG needs to get out of here, but I don't know if they can. The Maokai now, stolen body, is just going to get that route up, and they're going to find another onto Spoober. Going to get at least 2 kills traded over for XG, but they're going to lose 3 in the process. And, you know, just when it looks good, holding my thought, May, going to be able to E over. I wasn't sure if he actually still had it, so, yeah. I mean, just as they were starting to mount a bit of an offense, they kind of fumble.
Yeah, again and again, XG, they find great plays where they're able to squeeze water from stone, but they just try to go too hard on bullying Weatherneck. They hate him. I don't know if he stole their lunch money in high school or what, but this guy has been public enemy #1 for XG, and he is baiting them hard into these fights where Delilah is just able to clean up the house and get all these resets, all these kills. Look at that, 8,000 gold on Rat Queen Delilah's Viego. That is a scary thing to see.
Yeah, and I actually had a question, since you said you play in this league.
Yes.
Do teams scrim each other?
I'm not too sure if these teams scrim each other a lot. I know that players on both of these teams know each other and play together on other teams. I'm not sure how much or how often they play against or with each other, but I know that they know each other pretty well. Oh, as we see a new fight up here.
Spoobert's gonna get spooked actually by Rat Queen Delilah in the bush. Gonna try and find the last damage onto Albino Sunbear, but just gonna get denied by the teleport onto the other side of that ability. And now a bunch of attention towards top side. I think the biggest problem here is you picked Ezreal, and Smolder just has better wave clear, which is going to be a continuous problem. So you're going to need to have the Hui match to Smolder, but that hasn't happened in the lane assignments currently, since they've tended to want the Hui in these fights, you know, logically. But I think you just need to say, screw it, we have to just commit this Hui to match the Smolder to make sure at least he doesn't get to free stack as much as he is right now. So feel a little scary.
Yeah, it's getting really difficult. And another fight there where it just seems like Spoobert sees a good opportunity and just overextends a little bit. That's going to be his 6th death of the game. We've got a 30 kill game at 20 minutes. This is very scrappy.
Yeah, for
It's
someone who
pretty hard to keep up.
doesn't do play-by-play much, this is not an easy introduction. And, I was just bringing up the scrim topic because you mentioned like, oh, did Weatherneck take their lunch money? I mean, maybe in scrims, like if someone's like a scrim god, right? You're just gonna make sure that they can't have their scrim performances in a real match, especially not finals. But I think they just realized we have a strong side. Let's just play towards it. And Volibear is especially good at diving. Spoobert, unfortunately, going to get caught out. No team support. There is Baron on the other side, but since Volibear was already walking down, there's just no ability to threaten that. And they're just going to shove out bot lane. At least they're going to trade the mid lane turret for this play. And that opens up the map a bit, but I wouldn't say it gives them great comfort.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the way that Tilt has changed their priorities this game. I really appreciate that as soon as Weatherneck was starting to fall behind and they realized, hey guys, fighting top is no longer a great thing to do. We've fallen pretty far behind. The Aatrox is a lot stronger. They kind of sacked top side to get those dragon stacks and to get KTL and Albino Sunbear in a better position. But now that it's later in the game and we've got quite a bit of gold on the Smolder and the Viego, they're now saying, hey guys, let's not leave our teammate completely out to dry and let's get him back in the game a little bit. So they're allowing Camille to have some pressure in the side lane by hovering him with the strong points, because now the others can fend for themselves with the amount of gold that they've been able to get out of this early mid game. And they've got a pretty solid game plan. I think they're down some gold, but they obviously, as we've talked about, they scale a lot better, and I think their gold is in a better place for where they want it to be with this team.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think this is the only good application of a trickle-down theory. As Viego is just getting some dollar signs in the pocket of Camille. At the very least, it looks like they want this fight. May kind of in a bad position. Does at least have the protection. Gonna actually go on the main bulk of the team. Quite a bit of a distraction play there. And then now everyone is on top of each other. Rat Queen Delilah is going to get the first reset. Now is Hwei very much more squishy. Going to ult away, not going to be able to get out. And that's the first reset here for Spoobert. Actually almost full HP. This could be a big performance here for XG. McFeeds is going to get denied a bit. And Spoobert's just going to go for the chase on KTL as May takes down Weatherneck on the other side. Albino's going to trade 2 for 2 right. 2 for 2 left on the board here. Albino Sunbear is going to take down May in one ability here. Now, Spoobert, do you have enough damage left in the tank? Going to look for Q3. Q1 should be coming back up. Just going to go for the auto here. 600 gold shutdown into the pocket of Spoobert. And now KTL just going to walk it off. Doesn't want to contest the big blade man. Wow. I mean, that's what he is. Yeah.
No matter how many times they catch out Spoobert in the side lane, this guy is still a complete menace for the side of Tilt Esports. This guy keeps TPing into these fights, keeps finding these amazing ultis, getting these multi-man queues, just completely shutting down the side of Tilt Esports in these team fights. They're going to have to find a way to play around this, because this problem is not going anywhere, no matter how many times they kill him.
Yeah, I think they just need to isolate. I feel like straight up 5v5ing might not be the best play because they are so tanky. You cannot be bursting through these health bars. It needs to be a little bit more whittling down with the help of the Smolder. And yes, Aurora is one of those flashy champs. Hey, you get to just burst someone. But Camille also takes some time to get her damage down. So I think you just have to play the fights a bit slower, one at a time. Maybe wait out the Aatrox ults if it comes up. So definitely, there are windows of opportunity. They've completely stopped the stacking possible now. And they just need to make sure they don't have any big mistakes in the team fight, because that could really blow up this game. If they get Baron, I think their siege is just so much better compared to XG's. That they really could lose the game off of one Baron.
I agree. I think both teams utilize Baron very well. I think they're going to be looking to fight around here for Sport. Oh, McFeeds seems to be caught.
Feeds. Maybe doing some feeding, but who knows? OTF now in the area, going to put down the Unending Despair. Going to go down first. But this has been the trend anywhere. OTF is going to survive. Actually going to get taken down by the ultimate of Smolder. But this puts them in a good position to actually just start up the Baron. There is no TP on Spoobert here, so it should be pretty safe to secure. May is in the area, so this could be kind of dicey if the poke does come through.
Yeah, XG are going to have to play this very slowly, very cautiously if they want to try and contest this. Spoobert is roaming up towards mid, but he's going to be pretty late for this fight unless they
they want the turn. May is going to go in. Weatherneck going to find the stun up, but just going to get stunned immediately. Now you're going to lose your side lane Baron, at least one of them. Spoobert now in the area. The E is going to commit it from Smolder, but Spoobert doesn't want to overcommit. Just going to walk it in now, trying to deny at least one, but not going to find anyone. And that's going to be 4 players with Baron for TES after a bit of a blunder here for XG.
Yeah, crucially, Rat Queen Delilah stayed on the Baron there while the rest of their team turned to secure that Baron. Now you're going to have Baron on 4 members of Tilt. Ideally, you'd like to have it on the Camille as well, but honestly, you're going to be more than happy with the Baron on this Smolder TK, just barreling it down mid. I assume that they're going to play off Albino Sunbear because he's a lot stronger and he has Baron on him, so they're probably going to look to play to top side and mid, get this mid tier 2 cracked, and get some more gold out of those towers on the top side. Spoobert is heading up there to try and delay that from happening as best he can, while Tilt Esports establishes their dominance in the bot side jungle.
Yeah, notably, Smolder just ticking over with that last fight into the full stack territory. OTF just going to get completely destroyed, has no flash from that last fight, and just going to get taken down. And that's your main wave clear gone. I was talking about how Ezreal, this is the one main weakness of Ezreal, is you just have 0 wave clear. And you're kind of seeing that in effect as they're able to push out quite effectively. And everyone else is pretty melee range, so if you walk up to Smolder without being able to CC him, this could be quite dicey. Spoobert trying to find something on the side lane, realizes this is a pretty dire situation, wants to find a play, but now is going to get dove in just a second. I think they might just go without a minion wave. No, they're going to play it safe. CA Colin, someone who fears abyssal diving, finds it
right in.
under the turret. Yep. CA Collins
plays
these abyssal dives extremely well throughout this game.
And that's just such a tough death timer to have. OTF just came up, and now Spoobert's dead. They, Tilt Esports have been able to use this Baron so well, finding these really crucial picks. Weatherneck is playing to the opposite side of the map. They're drawing so much pressure out. They're getting all the turrets down. And this game has ballooned to a 6,000 gold lead nearly for Tilt Esports.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, at this point, I feel like unless there's a miracle where, you know, TES really makes a big mistake, it's going to be pretty hard to lose. That's just how the nature of Smolder. There's a reason this champ gets booed on stage when it gets played at Worlds. So he may be different, but he definitely is still Smolder nonetheless. Has the Shojin and the anti-heal as well. So it's going to be a lot harder for particularly Spoobert to get the job done. They need to find a pick, but their pick potential is not great. They just need to rely on Maokai. Maokai is one of the best scaling tanks in the game, but they don't have very many squishy targets to actually go on with this Maokai.
Yeah, I think the best hope for XG at this point is that Tilt overplays their hand somewhere. XG still does have really good disengage tools and counter-engage tools in things like the Maokai ult, the Hui peel from his QEs and his E's, and they have the Aatrox resets, which have, of course, come in clutch many times for them throughout this game. They're going to have to hope for a bit of a blunder from Tilt Esports, but we have seen them throw over some team fights to XG, so we'll have to see if they're able to squeeze water from stone once again.
Yeah, and it really does come down to this Ezreal. I mean, I feel like has been quiet. They really need a pop-off team fight, and there's no real other champion that I feel like can kind of make the deal. At this point, I think it has to just be a performance out of May, and it's just looked like there's just too much tankiness on the front line, and Ezreal's just not there damage-wise. Doesn't have the Cyrildas, most notably, so these tanks really are quite immortal. And now they take the Drake. There's going to be 3 in the pocket of TES. No Baron up for 2 minutes, so it's a little bit more idle time to kind of wait out, but I guarantee you TES wants to end as soon as possible. They don't need to, but I imagine they're going to look for a pick as soon as Tom Kench's back on the map.
Yeah, they can kind of exert their dominance. I think what they're going to try and do is not play too hasty because they recognize the counter-engage tools and the ability of Spoobert to still come up pretty clutch in these team fights. I think they're just going to try and play it methodical, play around these objectives, try to bait XG into bad positions because XG doesn't really want to be the ones engaging first, especially against a Smolder TK. So I think Tilt are going to try and get to places first, establish vision dominance, and choke XG out of this game, probably through the next Baron, if I had to imagine.
Yeah, that's a much safer approach, especially because you're not getting outscaled. You have to make a blunder. Um, that being said, you might want to burn at least one flash off of your opponent, especially maybe off Hui. I would definitely target that Hui flash. Like that's something that you could exploit for sure, at least before the Baron fight. In case they do go for that. They do have only 45 seconds, and they have vision control for the most part. Maokai doesn't have a problem wrangling some of this back, but with the scuttle getting taken, they have full info on where he is. They're just going to go in straight onto McFeeds. And now they're going to find the stun. The reset does come through. Rat Queen Delilah now has the Maokai. The Camille's going to fly in, going to ult up the play, and now that big damage threat is going to go down. Same thing for the Ezreal on the side. Albino Sunbear just one-shotting, and now Spoobert's also going to fall the same. They have no easy minion waves in the area, so it might take a bit to end here, but it looks like they're going to go towards the Baron. They don't feel comfortable trying to exert for the end. There is still 30 seconds on Hui. So I think they could have, but they're just gonna go for the safe play. They don't need to take the risk. They're just gonna take this Baron, and nice successful fight there.
Yeah, I agree. Probably could have ended mid off that, but I don't blame them at all for just going for the safe play here. It's not like they're in any danger of an Elder flip losing them the game or anything. They just want to take the Baron, not go for that possible throw, and they're gonna balloon themselves up to 9,000, nearly 10,000 gold now. So this game should be closed out momentarily.
Should be lights out. You know, I've seen I've seen some crazy things in Titan Esports for sure. But I think, you know, with Smolder, who luckily we'll never have to see again in this best of 5, because due to Fearless, which is a good thing. So yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty it's pretty good showing from TES. I think they showed that, you know, even if the one side of the map's really down, they know how to pick up the pieces on the other side. So yeah, I'd say they're feeling pretty confident even going into the next couple games. XG as well, I don't think did particularly poorly, maybe over chased quite a bit, and that really did cost them some of their major leads they had early on in the game. McFeed's going to look for a pick onto CA Hollins. So now he's going to go in. The grasp of is going to come through. KTL's actually getting dove by Kaz, but there's just no damage on this Volley Bear. In the meantime, Tom Kench is going to go down on the front line. No resets here for Rat Queen Delilah. KTL is going to solo Kaz on the backside. Albino Sunbear getting caught out. McFeed's going to go forward. Another denied reset because Viego didn't get a hit onto the Maokai, and now Weatherneck in a bad position. KTL still alive, so this fight is still salvageable. Weatherneck probably just going to try and get out. Going to hook shot full extension there, and actually walk out here. They have red buffs ticking now. They have some HP to come back into this fight. If Spoobert overextends, this could be scary. Just gonna get spotted on a control ward, walk it out, and they're gonna survive with 3. Sloppy, you know.
Yeah. Tilt got a little excited there. Their Viego and Camille were separated from the rest of their team, and I think Albino Sunbear took a bit of a greedy pathing there. Unfortunately for XG, those picks don't amount to a whole lot. It's a little bit extra gold in their pockets, but it's not like they're going to get first move to any objective. They still have to spend a lot of time here clearing out these waves that have all been pushed into their base. So it's nice to get the extra picks. It's a nice morale booster as well, but I don't think it's going to mean much for the course of this game. I still think Tilt have a commanding lead and should close this out soon.
Yeah, they're gonna be now. I mean, they're gonna run out of Baron here in just a second. And they're gonna need to look for another fight. They do have no summoner spells on XG. I would just try and find a fight now. You are stronger with no summoner spells. There's much less risk of outplay. They're gonna go for the soul here. If Mountain Drake's soul comes through, I mean, that's just even more into the deck of TES as the smite is gonna come through. It's gonna go for Viego here. Rat Queen Delilah is gonna start off, and this is super overextended here, and they're actually gonna get one reset here. And now they're going to go for an extended chase. OTF not going to be ulted here by Weatherneck, but just going to chase out here. May in a bad position as well, trying to find the kill onto Camille. And now it's just up to Swoober and McFeeds to salvage the game. And get dodge out on the knockup, but there's just nothing left in the tank. Yep. And this is going to be finally end of game. They're just going to run it down mid. McFeeds, you're just a lonely Maokai running away.
Yep, that is going to be wraps on game number 1. Little back and forth there for the first 15 minutes or so, I'd say, but Tilt were really able to blow the game open.
Yeah.
and we're able to use those first couple drakes. I think that was a real nail in the coffin, was those early objectives. More of those should have gone the way of XG. I don't think there's any reason that Grub should have been split 3 and 3, and that 2 drakes should have gone over to Tilt with their smolder, and especially with Spoobert dominating top lane as hard as they should. I
Yeah,
think the
and
objective setup is definitely something to look at this game for XG, if they are interested in coming back into game 2.
yeah, and also a mid was also pretty even overall, so you're not too worried about some of these fights. So yeah, 2 drakes going their way just means, hey, we have more time to scale with Smolder. That sounds great to me. That's just how Smolder works. You have to deny it, and I feel like it comes out from a little bit of over-indexing. You know, you go for a dive on Camille every now and then when you have ultimate from the volley bear, but you don't have to stay up there all the time to protect that lane. I know at a certain point, like, the bot lane for XG just gets, you know, kind of pushed in all the time, and it was looking pretty rough. But you kind of have to sacrifice some pressure somewhere, and definitely you want to take these early objectives. So there's some adaptations to be made, but they won't have to deal with Smolder coming into game 2. So I'd say that's at least a confidence-inspiring thing that you got it out of.
Yeah, definitely. There are some big power picks off the board here now. I know that Tilt especially like to prio the Tomcatch, the Smolder, and the Viego, so all those are going to be gone, as well as the Hue, which I believe is a staple of OTFs. So we're going to see some big picks for both these teams taken out already in game 1. Curious to see what side XG choose to go for next game and what they want to put that prio on B1 on, especially assuming they pick blue side, of course.
Yeah, we saw a lot of flexes in this last game. Obviously, with the pool shrunk down a bit with some of those strong flex picks, it really opens up how you're going to want to pick red or blue side. Do you want to prioritize your counter picks now? Do you want to actually just lock in what's remaining of the very strong pool? Either way, we're going to have to wait and see, because we're going to go to a quick break while we wait for game 2 to load up. Don't go anywhere, obviously. Kind of close to dinner time. If you need to eat, this would be a good time to grab some snacks or a real meal. So we'll see you in a little bit. See you.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello and welcome back to Eternal League. This is game 2 of Tilt Esports versus XG Ratatoskr, something like that. I'm still Golden that's still Jake. Oh, that's still Jacob. Um, yeah, after that game 1, I'm pretty excited to get into game 2. But we do have something right before that we didn't show off right before the last game. We do have the awards for Eternal League. Here they are. We got an arrangement of players. There's someone currently MVP, Jacob. You know, it's kind of interesting. I get to do like a MVP interview here with you in the
Yeah.
booth.
Yeah, ask away, dude.
Well, I mean, how did this come to be? Who do you want to thank first of all?
I mean, I just think that like my team as a whole, more than any other team I've been on, was just super receptive to like the way that I wanted to play the game and the way that I felt was right. And everybody was super. I'm pretty vocal in game, and everyone was very trusting on my calls. My jungle and support specifically were always like playing around what I wanted to do. So this absolutely would not have been possible without the best team around me, just enabling me to be able to get this high rating in this KDA. So I really appreciate that from them. I mean, you can see them; they're on here too, the Spot
Yeah.
and Gus. So yeah,
So, I guess let's talk to the other players. Obviously, also in the first team, All Pro at the bottom. KTL and is it CA Colin or Call? I don't. How do you pronounce that now?
I think I just call him Colin. I don't.
Okay.
I never
I'm
talked to
dropping
him.
the CA. I'm dropping the CA. We're going KTL and Colin. Did they just roll the league? How does this full bot lane end up here at first team?
I mean, I think they were definitely considered like the most consistent, like the most consistently strongest bot lane 2v2 together. Pretty much any lane that they put into, they were winning. I mean, you saw in that last game, they just played Smolder TK. That's not a lane that usually finds kills or big gold leads, but they managed to squeeze it out. I think that these two have really good synergy, and I agree with them being here. I think that they've been very consistent and they deserve it.
Yeah, and I'll just put one last shout out. Obviously, you guys can see the second and third team, but the runner-up MVP, Uwu Slayer from NLE. You know, getting second most votes is still something to be respected. But I think that's it for the player awards. Congratulations to those who end up on this graphic. And if you want it to show your friends, I'm sure you can ask any of our wonderful admin team in the background. Now we're good to go to draft, so we'll get into that as soon as that does kick off. As here it is, the draft. Obviously, this is Fearless, so you see in the middle there some champs that cannot be played again, most notably the Hui and the Smolder, and as well as the Aatrox, as I've been informed.
Yeah, and as is usual with Fearless, we're probably just going to see the same bans across the board. This is usually how it goes, unless teams don't feel like leaving a character to the last game, because there are no bans in Game 5. So I assume, yep, Gragas, Yone, Graves, probably the exact same stuff for Game 2.
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty typical. You just keep banning whatever you think is their strongest identity, especially in Fearless, where, you know, you want these to be saved for potentially never getting to be able to be played if you're TES. Like, they may never be able to play Gragas, Yone, and Mumu if this closes out in 3 games, because the bans are never going to open up for them to actually pick those strong picks here. Graves Nocturne Wukong, so, you know, very heavy jungle priority. They want to shut down Rat Queen Delilah off of these AD jungle picks. They do have first pick here for TES, and XG obviously lost some of their flex picks in the first game. It's going to be Jinx first pick, so feeling pretty confident in kind of, hey, we could just blind it. We don't think you have something that'll punish it super hard. Usually you'd see something like potentially a Caitlyn. Oh, there it is. Caitlyn right there. Spoobert. Gonna lock it in for May there. And then maybe taking away a safer support pick here on XG. Obviously, you could go for the full double ranged and go for full
There it is.
fighting. And it's going to be actually the Skarner, so you could talk on this now if you want.
I was actually expecting the Skarner to come in on B1. I think it makes sense here too, though, locking down the Caitlyn and then grabbing Skarner. I think that what XG is trying to do is then pick their range support on 3, whether it's Lux or Morg or some other mage. Maybe they'll forego it altogether. but I think that makes sense. It's a super strong combo, and the response of the Soraka is something I've been waiting for against Skarner as well. That point-and-click silence absolutely destroys his ability to engage.
So I had one question on that. Does the silence, it doesn't stop Skarner ultimate cast, right?
I don't think it starts it if it's already started. It's Smolder. What?
No, it's going to be a Smolder. So I guess Smolder mid, potentially.
Wait,
Could be
that
top
was
even.
played last game.
Oh, maybe okay, maybe
Is it-
perhaps a glitch. Uh, we'll have to double check on that. Just we'll get informed on what champ that actually is. We got Swain, Syndra, also on the ban table here. So some mid laners getting taken out of the pool here, and then Silas as well. So really big mid pool pinch here. Um, I've been informed the Smolder is actually a Nautilus, so just ignore that. Oh, there you go. Swapped it. Perfect. The graphics done. And Xin Zhao is going to be a strong pick here into Skarner. Obviously, you can't be as flexible as far as your team fighting is concerned.
Ooh.
Well, Veigar is pretty interesting. Now you've set up a really strong kind of siege composition because you can't really dive on a Skarner Veigar ever.
Yeah, I do. I do like that Veigar. The Skarner Veigar combo is one that is very deadly in the mid lane, especially now that we have an immobile mage locked in here for the side of Albino Sunbear, and Cassante rounds out their draft with a strong front line that they needed.
Yeah, a bit of ball delivery here. You got Kasante and Xin Zhao definitely can get the job done, but it's a lot of scrappiness for the side of TES's
Ooh!
comp. We're gonna see the Singed lock in. I mean that's a classic matchup into Kasante. It makes it very hard for him to play the game.
I love that. I think that XG has a really strong 4 set from support to jungle. I think that Spoobert here was kind of allowed this R5 pick to do whatever he wanted, and do whatever he wanted, he did. This Singed pick is going to be so fun to watch. I love the proxying, the crazy strats that go on with this champion.
Yeah,
But TS's comp... Sorry,
go
go ahead. TS, their comp is also nothing to scoff at either. I like the Soraka, specifically against the Skarner. I think it's a very strong counter pick. I think the one thing to watch out for is this Orianna doesn't have the greatest ball delivery. You usually see like a Nocturne or something to throw that in there. So he's going to have to do a lot of the heavy lifting on his own, especially against the Caitlyn range. But overall, I like it. I think they got a pretty strong front to back, and we'll see if XG can cause the chaos required to break that apart.
Yeah, I'd like to touch on like Singed does a pretty good job at denying a lot of ball delivery. I mean, you have the ground as well, and has flip as well in case there's a bit of sticking, and you can even displace the ball sometimes. Yeah, you're gonna be making a slightly sacrificial play, but I think if Caitlyn and Veigar have ample time to hit as they should with the Skarner Nautilus, I think definitely could put them in a good position here. As yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty divided on this game, but I think TS just has an easier time doing damage, which is why I kind of like it. But Skarner, obviously, X factor. If you can get past your weak early game, you become quite the force.
Yeah, I agree. I think this will be a really interesting one.
Yeah.
TS got what they want, and XG has a lot of chaos to disrupt that. So I believe we're sending it over to intermission.
I think we're just about ready, so we're just gonna chill here. Look at these beautiful splash arts drawn from any period of time from 2011 to now. I think actually everyone should have an updated splash from when they came out. So this is probably like 2014 and on. Yeah, and we got quite a few arcane champs in here. We got Jinx,
We do.
Orianna, Singed, Caitlyn. I mean, the pick rates are just skyrocketing. The amount of times I'm seeing Vi in my games is just crazy.
And we all know that Singed was the winner of Arcane.
Oh,
so we
true.
will see if Singed can also be the winner of the Titan Esports Eternal Game 2 Finals.
Yeah. I think Veigar is just really, really, really strong in this game. So I'd like to see some attention towards that lane in specific, especially since you can't really gank a Singed. If Singed dies, it's Singed choice for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Singed Singed is absolute chaos manifested into a champion. The things that you can do on this character if you have a lot of experience are so annoying. Absolute thorn in the side of the enemy team. So we'll see what Spoobert's expertise on this champion can provide for XG in this game too.
Yeah, they're gonna go for a invade here. I think they may have spotted one member, but they're gonna all escape. They don't want to get hooked by McFeeds here, and they're gonna get vision with the help of the Oriana ball. So they're gonna know that there is a retreat. Definitely some deep wards in your own jungle, but at least no big action. But I don't think they secured a safe enough route here for Spoobert to be able to actually go for a proxy level 1, and a hook's gonna come through onto Kakalin. Now KTL is gonna go out some damage on to the opposing members. No summoner spells blown, just not in the right distance to actually find anything. But it does mean that they do know the pathing of the Xin Zhao at the very least, with the help of the deep ward. Skarner currently obviously unseen, but expected to mirror the pathing, just as tank junglers do.
Yeah, and that's a super important ward for Singe specifically. Getting that down on the top side gives him a lot of info on when he can go for that proxy, which I assume we'll be seeing quite a bit of this game. The Cassante has decent wave clear, but we'll see how he can keep up with the pressure of those waves stacking in on his turret.
Yeah, and now on I mean, also like Cassante doesn't really have damage to kill Singed early on either, so that's definitely, yeah, you're seeing it there a little bit.
Yep.
Big trades here for Spoopert. That's very advantageous. You'd always rather be the low health Singed than the low health other laner, especially since you're gonna have to be catching these waves under turret, and if you want to secure all the farm, you generally have to tank some.
Yeah, Singe level 1 is nothing to scoff at. And level 2, his fling does a lot of damage, so Weatherneck's gonna have to play respectful. I wonder if we're gonna see the proxying start now.
Yeah, no vision on what it's actually happening. OTF just gonna keep farming up. Obviously, another stacking champion in the game. This time for the side of XG, not as strong as the Smolder. Obviously, doesn't have any crazy evolutions to deal with. But one thing to note is you did draft Caitlyn and Nautilus, which I generally dislike as a lane. Obviously, it's more for the team fighting afterwards, but it also means you can't really accelerate the Caitlyn as effectively, especially not on Soraka. But hold that thought, Kaz is going to go in for it a gank. They're going to get dissuaded by the W there from Weatherneck, but they're going to get Spoobert's flash out of that play. So Singe's going to be a little bit less safe than he normally is for 5 minutes. And
yeah, that was a bit that was a bit ego on the part of XG. Usually Cassante doesn't have too hard of a time just Wing out of that. I think a little ambitious, but I respect it.
yeah, a little, I wouldn't even say hands check, I'd say eyes check.
Yeah.
Because there isn't much to go on. It's just like, oh, can I see the angle? Yeah, I can. Nice hook here, but yeah, Soraka just does such a good job of neutralizing the extended play. And I just don't see how this Caitlyn's going to get off the ground. And with the nerfs that Caitlyn received, she's a lot weaker. And now Rat Queen Delilah with seeing the Skarner in mid and top, just going to take advantage of that and find and you know, kind of take advantage of Skarner's weak early game. So just going to take him out, and that's going to be the entire bot side probably taken out. KTL is going to get hooked up into the trap. Unfortunately, the kill goes the way of McFeeds. But I mean, that's still at least one traded kill back over. Obviously, TS is still going to end up with a gold lead with the help of the first blood gold and some of the extra camps they're going to pick up in the process. But a little bit of a rough def here for KTL.
Yeah, and we're going to get the replay here. Rat Queen Delilah just walking right in here, having those double buffs, just a lot stronger on this play. The prio in mid is a big help for this. No fear flashing over that wall. And just finishing him off barely with a W here too. That cage was almost a problem.
Yeah, I actually think if Skarner just holds E for a little bit longer, maybe they do get the combo from OTF. So very close margins here. Albino Sunbear, repeat play in the mid lane. No flash from the last one, and we talked about how easy the cage combo into the Skarner E is. You just have to make sure you're in range as the Skarner, and it's pretty much guaranteed you'll get a stun or a flash. So yeah, it's reminiscent of like Poppy Vagar, for instance, but maybe a little bit scarier since your range is much longer. Spoober's actually just straight up laning, which I think is fine since it is just Cassante. But post level 6, I'd be a little bit more concerned since he will have some kill threat on you.
Yeah, and I think that gank mid was a really heads-up opportunity from Kaz. Obviously, his bot jungle, sorry, was super scary to go into after having 3 members of Tilt Esports rummaging around in there. Could have dropped wards, God knows where, taken his blue buff. I'm assuming that he thought that they took more. So instead, he just goes for a little bit of an off-tempo play, runs straight through top, and goes for a cheeky gank, and does get Albino Sunbear out. And
I
gets
will
the
say,
kill.
I'd get a little concerned though. You know, as I said, Skarner, weak early game. The faster you could get to your Heartsteel Sterix, the better for the most part. But Kaz is still gonna get pressured here. No flash. Finds the W, and now Kaz no way out. Just gonna stun up with the E, but there's no helping that Scorpion. Just gonna go down. Queen Delilah is doing a great job of shutting this Skarner down, and 20 CS at 6 minutes. It's just not a comfortable position. Kakalin is going to take a bunch of damage. Netting back from May. It might cost them the kill here. Still going to have enough to actually secure it. KTL now getting chased down. Going to get rooted up. May taking a lot of damage. Might get a trade kill. Barrier coming through. No barrier for the side of KTL. Finds the last auto. Now he's going to try and get sprint out, but just going to get dubstep ignited. And McFeed's going to get another one into his pocket.
I still think overall Tilt Esports likes that. Getting the Caitlyn off the map means that they're not going to have the prio they want for this Drake too. Keep in mind that Kaz dying there means that the objective trade was pretty impossible for them to do. They secure the grubs, but oh, here's Weatherneck going for the ult.
Yeah, gonna ground him up. Not gonna be able to
get
damage, but Weatherneck has the flash, finds the kill, and this is what I was talking about. I don't think you want to, take the full-on laning experience against Cassante post 6. A little bit sloppy there, but I do understand. Your jungler is so far behind. It could be pretty scary to go for a big proxy here.
Yeah, you gotta keep in mind that's their R5 Singe, so that's not a great look coming out from Spoobert getting solo killed there. But honestly, it's Singed. I have no fear that he'll be able to come back into this game. I'm more worried about the Cassante accelerating because I'm sure we've all seen Cassante's get mega accelerated off a couple early fights and become unkillable, especially in the face of Caitlyn Veigar.
Yeah, that is concerning, especially since Skarner so decelerated that I don't think he's gonna have the damage that you do expect as the Skarner. So, I think you're in a great position of your Tilt Esports, and you also have Soraka, who makes it even harder to kill some of these tankier members. So with how the scraps have gone, I'd really favor them in this game as it goes on.
Absolutely. I think Tilt getting a little bit of a gold lead here, 600, but I think the more important one is they've secured both of the first objectives again. They got the first 3 grubs, and they were able to get the Drake as a result of some of their clean jungle tracking and punishing. This Skarner has been completely shut down from going into any of these objectives, and Tilt are in a good spot all across the board, really.
Yeah, I would have liked to see them just go for more lane. If you're gonna pick a Skarner and potentially another kind of tankier champion in Spoobert, I feel like you could have just indexed into the double ranged on the bot side and really just made that your strong side. But as I said that, they just find a kill on Kakalin. Well, I guess it's your strong side now.
Yeah, I'm guessing this Nautilus is just more of a comfort pick for McFeeds. I mean, he's been piloting it pretty well this game. So.
Yeah. And here's a little bit of a replay on what happens. Colin just walking up just a little bit, gets rooted up into the trap. Pretty classic there. No real big mechanic outplay, just you hit the hook, the rest falls through.
Yeah, that's more on Tilt, just not really respecting the bush prio that Nautilus got there. They're just in a pretty advantageous position with that 202 Nautilus rocking the tab eyes. He's very tanky, so he doesn't really care. He'll go where he pleases.
Tabbies, what's that? It's removed from the game.
Oh, my bad.
No, I'm kidding.
Exposed my league age.
I still say tabbies too. Who's calling it plated steel caps? Actually, official broadcast, I was mandated to, but by now I don't care. Titan Esports is flexible with me,
That is the full collector for May on this Caitlyn.
So it's a great position, and I like the collector a lot more than the static shiv, which I've seen a couple times. I hate that build. I think it's completely useless. obviously you need to have this Caitlyn really accelerate. So I'd like to see IE next and just try and get there as quickly as possible before the Soraka Cassante can really become an unkillable duo. So
I think this is a pretty smart swap. I like putting the Caitlyn mid, obviously super accelerated, easier to get mid prio, some more plates. Having the Veigar go bot to catch and stack more safely away from where all the fighting is happening is nice. They weren't able to catch the side wave, so you're going to notice that Tilt Esports here are going to be surrendering 2 bot waves here, maybe more, for the grubs. They are looking to go for more than 3. See how XG contests this.
yeah, the Spoobert's gonna find Rat Queen, but a nice shockwave on the other side, but there's no follow-up for that play. Skarner's gonna ult through, but the healing from the Soraka is doing so much work now, and the Caitlyn going down on the backside means that there's no damage left. The Veigar just not in a position to actually be able to carry at this current moment, and Kaz just gonna be a sad Scorpion gonna get taken out on the backside. So a very well-played fight here for top, and their Gambit pays off.
Yep, that was definitely, that was a pretty crazy bold move from Tilt to completely sacrifice the bot side of the map, drop those 2 or 3 waves, and go for these 6 grub buffs. I do like it because XG are kind of forced to come to this. You do not want to give 6 grubs pretty much ever. And in doing so, I think they knew that Veigar did not have TP, which is why they felt so confident to keep 5 here. Because the pressure that Veigar would have put down staying bot lane would have been exacerbated by him having TP. But the fact that he didn't means he didn't pick up any plates, he didn't deny quite as much as he could have. And they, yeah, as you said, they went for the Gambit and it paid off very well for them. The Ace, the 6 grubs, first Drake, and they are in an amazing position.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes the real big difference here is like the item completions coming into that fight were just so much better for Tilt. They had the Sundered, they had the Kanik Rookern on the Kisante, and I mean that's extremely powerful. I don't think they had the Jinx Yuntals yet, but that's not as important at this stage of the game. So I think the Sundered Sky especially is just so much stats that you can't really cut through that front line as effectively as you'd like to. So a nice shockwave delays them. So now they're going with the help of that play, and now still at better item completions here. They're just gonna snowball that straight into that second Drake of the game. And I mean, we talked about how XG has an interesting comp, but that was relying on kind of Singed being strong and being able to pick up stuff, but so far hasn't really found the action you'd expect. And then on the other side, Skarner also just completely out of the game for the most part. At least has caught up in farm a little bit compared to the Xin Zhao, but I think it's still going to be a rough time here for XG.
Yeah, XG, it's been a bit of a disaster so far, losing every early game objective, going down in kills as well. Their glimmering hope here is I would feel a lot more scared for them if their team comp was wholly focused on front to back, because that's obviously what Tilt is also trying to do, and they're going to do it better at every stage of the game from now on, pretty much. But XG have a pretty strong pick comp here with the Veigar Cage, the Caitlyn ult, Nautilus ult. So I'm not gonna say it's too over. I'm not gonna get all doom and gloom on them. It's a very rough position to be in for XG, but they can obviously still pull it out with some very smart map play and finding those off-angle plays that can get them some leads where they need it.
Yeah, it's definitely just a much more difficult game for them. They have to make the creative play. They have to find the initiative to actually get some of these picks started, so you're not just raw 5v5ing. You know, if you have to deal with the Soraka forever, it's gonna be a problem. But also, Soraka's been playing quite respectful, and you highlighted in particular the Soraka-Skarner interaction with the E. I mean, kind of neutralizes a lot of the long-range threat onto Soraka that you'd normally expect. Now it's just Singed, but now Orianna, they were talking about a pick. Here is one. Spoobert might get traded out, though. And he does. Albino Sunbear gonna find it, and in the meantime, Rift Herald on the top side gonna get taken up, and they're probably gonna drop this directly into mid lane immediately, since so much of their pressure was dropped to take down this Orianna. At least the shutdown gold does go on to Skarner, so that's a little bit better than the Nautilus getting even more kills. But this means mid's cracked, and you know, you talk about Caitlyn being like such a dominant kind of turret taker. When your map's dark and you have no mid lane turret to fall back to, it gets a lot more difficult to perform that duty.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. I think that cross mapping is what you have to do if you're XP. You have to look for these cross map picks. You have to play away from the groups and try and find something. But unfortunately, just a bit of a botched execution, and they're going to trade 1-for-1 and lose their mid turret, which is absolutely not what they wanted. Tilt Esports are going to transition to top here.
Spoobert just getting completely cut down here. Gonna be able to survive, at least with the help of the team backing him up. And yeah, there's still gonna be a 4v4 on the top side. Spoobert wants to stay, wants to find some sort of engage, but KTL has both summoner spells. Kaz going in, wants to find a pull in, but since no one got caught by the cage, that is a priority target. Just gonna call off that play. And the siege is just gonna keep continuing. The poke is just better in the current stage for TES.
It's so hard if you're XG here. You have the Orianna pushing down mid, but the rest of TS are so strong that they can keep this 4v5 going and not feel too scared. They have to send Spoobert down mid to respond to that. But now I bet you Albino Sunbear is just going to run the bot, and he's going to bring this Singed around with him everywhere he wants. Because look at that wave that they have crashing on the turret. So Tilt Esports are kind of just dragging Spoobert around the map here, trying to bring them away and not allow them to defend these turrets that they're trying to knock down.
Yeah, Spoobert looking for a bit of a play. Has the ultimate, gonna actually commit for the flip. Taking a lot of damage and kind of not doing any in return. At least gonna get some out and kind of scare away Albino Sunbear from pushing out another wave immediately. So taking off a bit of that pressure, but still not easy. Jinx Rocket gonna go wide a little bit, not gonna find Spoobert on the retreat. And yeah, I mean, it's just a positive play here for TES, and they're gonna put themselves 5k gold up.
Yep, they have had quite the dream early game, from the invades to all the objectives and that early ace fight. They've pretty much got exactly what they wanted out of this game, and that means that they don't really have to be on the front foot anymore. They can kind of just play together, play as a team, play very slowly, and ensure that they light on the top side. Weatherneck.
This is Cassante, a champion with 4,700 HP, 329. Sorry, I'm reading it from chats. People put it in, but there you go. Veigar going down yet again. I mean, you know, to be fair, that was just a Cassante moment, but the Drake is going to come up, so losing your Veigar early on means that top turret's guaranteed dead, and Cassante has TP to join this fight if they end up going for it. I think you just have to drop it and hope that by the time the fourth Drake comes around, you're strong enough to actually contest it. But I mean, it's looking dire at this point. 5k golds, and yeah, your Singed is running it. Low-key.
Definitely a big hope. Emphasis on the hope for the fourth Drake. XG are...
Maybe cope?
Maybe cope, maybe a bit of hope, maybe a bit of both together. Looks like they're going for some sort of cross-map play, a Weatherneck here.
No ult
if he
on
actually
this.
dies.
They're gonna find the root, but canceled by the Unstoppable. They will have enough damage.
Okay.
A nice shutdown into the Baka Caitlyn. This is who you wanted in, or the Veigar as well. But Spoobert, I'm sorry, brother. I mean, there's just nothing you can do. You're gonna get ulted back in, gonna get dove, and you can't even clear the wave in time. And with the 6 Void Grubs, that is 12 mites just about to spawn right now. I can't do math. It's actually 8, but you know.
Oh man. The name of the game this series for XG is 1 step forward and 5 steps back. I feel like they keep having the right idea of what to do, but they either execute poorly on it or go way too far forward. And that's reflected right there.
Yeah.
In that bot play.
Mei is going to at least grab some of the turret HP, but not able to grab the full bag there. The bounties are up on these turrets. So you want to see that objective go their way if they want to kind of close this gap. There is no Rift Trail to get back gold as well, since that was already secured. So we're just waiting on the Baron here, the next big objective in 38 seconds. But and I actually think they could just force it, because I mean, Veigar is not good at ranged engaging. Neither is Skarner, really. That's why I'm always of the opinion you need 2 engages, which is what the Nautilus is for. It just feels like something in this comp is feeling redundant, since you aren't so far ahead that you can actually just run through with a Singed.
Yeah, if there's one thing XG does not want to do in this game state, it is walk into a dark river. They are going to get absolutely annihilated if they walk somewhere without vision, and I think they know that, which is why they're going for the pick.
They're not going to be able to find enough damage to actually threaten Rat Queen Delilah. maybe even might go in. Actually gonna find the flash forward through the cage. Now it's kind of in no man's land. Gonna get ulted back in, and the grand challenge is over. Gonna get ulted by that Veigar. A nice Oriana ultimate's gonna find 2 members, but it's just not gonna matter. KTL is gonna have the damage to secure the Nautilus. Caitlyn wasn't in a position to actually do damage at the same time, so I mean, 1 for 1, committed a lot of resources for both of these teams, but with KTL being full HP, it means you do have some time to siege down some of these turrets or even threaten the top lane tier 2.
XG again, they had something good going on, and then it was just a little bit too much. Rat Queen Delilah getting really excited, gets picked off there. I think that was great from XG. Excellent Skarner ulti usage there, pulling back into the team after the ult expires. But then they try re-engaging again. They had enough. They couldn't do the Baron with Delilah dead. There was no way. Veigar got the shutdown, so it's not all terrible for XG, but definitely a little disappointed.
Yeah, and you just now you're playing for Veigar Rabs for the most part. You need the Rabadons for sure to cut through these champions, especially K-Nick completed on the Kasante, and then I think at least in that fight you saw some good signs. You know, Xinjiao goes in, the cage comes down actually and splits the team, which is kind of what you need to do since we talked about how their 5v5 front to back is just worse. So stuff like that. Maybe they will recognize that as a potential opening here.
Yeah, I appreciate that they're not just leaning over and dying in the face of a stronger front to back. Oh, did I caster curse them?
Oh, he's chilling. Oh, he's dead, but he's chilling. You know what I mean? Like, you can die and it's totally fine if you're Nautilus.
He's fine. But I appreciate that they're still like looking for some things. Like that pick on Delilah there was a very good play. I think they recognize that they have the stronger pick comp. They still have carries that are getting to their strong item spikes. They're not... I don't think they're as doomed as the gold lead would make you think, but it's definitely still not a great spot for them.
But here comes the time of fate. 1 minute till the Infernal Drake. This is Soul for TES. And I talked about how they kind of need to contest this. I mean, I mean, if you start the stacking, this is total cope, by the way. If you start the stacking of the Infernal Drakes for the Veigar, I mean, just think about it, right? Yeah. That's just pure math. So they're gonna actually put themselves in a good position. Obviously, they do have Caitlyn to kind of quarter off this position. TES now has to find their way in. This is a good setup.
This is good so far for XG. They made sure that they got the mid-prio off the Albino Sunbear late recall. They got their pink wards in the spots that they need them. I think TES is going to read this. It's way too scary to go in there. They have 3 Drakes. They're probably not going to try and look for a fight here. Probably just try and force XG back into their vision, and then TES go for a turret, or maybe bait on a Baron, or maybe they'll just brute force their way in here anyway.
I think they just want in, but it looks like they're just going to cut mid. They say drop the Drake. We already have 3, but now they realize that they can find a fight. They want it so bad here for XG. They're going to find the flip onto KTL. That's actually big. No flash on this member. Going to get caged up, but a huge Skarner ultimate is going to find 2. Stall out the fight just a little bit more. Veigar is going to find the kill onto KTL, but now Mei is jumped onto. Nice flip away. Rat Queen Delilah is going to be forced out, but the Kasante is just so huge. Just going to take down Mei as well. And now going to flash forward. Not going to find the Q3. A little hyphy there from TES. Weatherneck still surviving. Spoobert's going to live with just a couple HP left. And now they're going to peel back and just take this dragon. I mean, that was a fight on margins.
Yeah, that counter engage was absolutely perfect from Tilt. That 5, I think that was a 4-man shockwave there, did absolutely massive damage. Completely blew up the entire side of XG. Weatherneck pops the ulti and just cleans house on the backside of that. They do get KTL as a participation trophy, but a dragon that looked like XG's a minute ago has now solidly secured the soul for Tilt Esports.
Yeah, and this is what they opted for. They said, okay, well, we're just gonna have to go for the fight, and they definitely tried. I mean, the Soraka canceling some of the Skarner threat, and then a pretty big Skarner ult. But at that point, the damage was already through. So, yeah, it was a risky move. But when you're down, I assume it feels worse to play than it looks right now.
For sure.
I could see looking for a desperation play like that, and it honestly had an angle where it works if Albino Sunbear doesn't find such a good ult.
It's always very tricky when you end up in those situations where you have great, amazing setup on the objective, but then the enemy team is barreling down mid, and you've already lost your tier 1 and 2. You don't want to give that inhib. I think in that situation, though, XG had to bite the bullet and just go for it. I think giving over even a mid inhibitor is better for them than giving the soul, but obviously that is hindsight, and now we've ended
Yeah.
up with Tilt Esports with the soul, and XG are going to have to find out what to do in these next 5 minutes, because a fight at Elder is not what they want in this position, to say the least.
Hey, but if they get the Cope, they get the Elder, they're winning the game.
If they get an Elder flip, that could be the game. Maybe they wanted to lose that Drake so they could go to an Elder flip. Maybe
Yeah.
that's it. Who knows?
I mean, you can only cope for so long. We'll just have to see. 5 minutes, that's doable. I would like to see TES try and force the Baron before that. I don't think you want to put yourself in a potential, like, weird trade position. I think that's how you throw games. So they're kind of establishing dominance on the top side, but they want to find one pick before actually going for it. But McFeeds might be the one that they're looking for.
Behind them all.
Gets silenced and rooted up. Only going to find Rat Queen Delilah. The ult comes through onto the Orianna, but has the Zanyas. Didn't check the inventory. Kaz going to flash onto KTL. Nothing is landing for the side of XG. Kaz going to get forced out here, and this Xin Zhao with the Infernal Soul is just so powerful. They're going to now push forward. Soraka in hand. The ult is going to come through. Not going to find Spoobert. At least cutting the wave so they don't have as much pressure to take a turret on the top side. They're pinging the mid lane turret. They're kind of undecided. They're going to actually finally commit onto that Baron. So this should be free Baron. No real big contest here. And Veigar on the opposite side with no TP means that you just don't have the burst damage to take down any of the threats you do find a pick on.
Yeah, it looked like no pay pick for XG, but then Rat Queen Delilah just flashes in, ults in, buys so much space by zoning that Caitlyn off for the rest of the fight. They don't have the damage to focus down that Orianna, and obviously he had the Seeker's Arm Guard there, which he popped instantly. So that combined with Delilah completely zoning Mei out of that fight, and they just did not have the damage to do what they were trying to do. And that was a big team fight win for Top Esports. We also, sorry, not Top Esports, Tilt Esports.
I do the same thing. But honestly, I saw the league, and you guys are named BLG, which is even, like, like that's just messed up at that point.
Imagine if you had to cast our game, BLG versus TES.
I'm sure someone did, and they did not have a good time.
Oh, they did, and I don't think they did. Can't remember. I'm glad that I have this stuff to be done.
Yeah. Either way, they now have the leeway to push whatever lanes they want. 2 minutes 22 on the Elder Drake. So that potential flip, for instance, could be in their future, but I just don't see how TES doesn't recognize just go for a pick early on to at least get rid of some of that threat. Mei and OTF are at least going to claim a turret out before this. They're going to also grab that scuttle, get a little bit more vision control on this bot side. But in the meantime, your top lane is going down. This is 6 scrubs and the Baron. I mean, this is as strong as a siege can get, really.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of an investment for the Elder. They definitely recognize that, hey, this game, we're getting a straight up fight here.
Yeah, there's just no threat. You cannot get close enough to threaten the Xin Zhao, and now Spoobert on KTL, but it's just not enough. There's nothing in the tank there. OTF gonna get damaged up here, and there's Kazkante with 4 or 5 HP bars. Just gonna walk forward, find a bunch of damage, and I think this might just be the end of the game. I don't think Caitlyn can shred through these health bars quite quickly enough, and TS is gonna make it a clean one.
Yeah, much less close than game 1 was indeed. I think the name of this game was just Tilt Esports. I think XG played a lot more how Tilt wanted them to play. I mean, a lot of these fights where they got a pick or two were really good to start for XG. I think they showed a lot of smart team fight taking, and then it kind of just all went downhill. They got some picks onto the Xin Zhao, the Orianna, and then they kind of just extended their hand a little bit too much. And of course, Tilt, even in a situation like that where they're down a member or they have a member who got cut down 80% HP, they're still going to win those front-to-back fights if Singed is not causing chaos in the back line, just as a nature of they have a Jinx, they have an Orianna, they have a Kazkante. These are 3 champions that are known for that style of play, and I think XG fed into that a little bit more than they probably should have.
Yeah, you really needed to find yourself with an early lead. I mean, I just don't know how advisable it is to go Skarner Singed. I mean, I get the angle for both. Like, the Skarner is just a strong champion, right? But the Singed, you kind of need a strong jungler early on, or at least one that can survive. And Skarner definitely isn't one of those champ. You really are just scraps and hopes you have one strong lane to play through. But since you drafted Kate Knot in the bot lane, which goes pretty even, and then also the Singed on the top side, you don't have any lanes to really play through as much. So hindsight, obviously 2020. We coming into the game, we thought it would be close. We did not foresee the Singed going down 2k gold or whatever it was. So
Yeah, that was the big one for me. I was really surprised. I think it kind of went the opposite of what we thought because May and McFeeds actually were doing quite well in the bot lane. If I
yeah,
recall correctly, they got some good 2v2 kills off and they got quite a bit of gold over onto May. May had that collector finished by about 10 minutes. It was a pretty big spike, but by that point, the top side was kind of what we saw last game, but the other way.
yeah.
Weatherneck was absolutely running a clinic, and Spoobert was far too far behind to make any sort of impact up there. And also, the elephant in the room we haven't mentioned yet. That early game domination from Delilah was a masterclass. That
Yeah.
was an absolute shutout. Getting all 4 of those early game objectives, the first 2 Drakes, first 2 sets of grubs, just really good tracking of the Skarner and awareness of where they're going to be and how to punish them and how to not allow them to even trade objectives, I think was very smart. And I think they executed that early game very well. Probably the best early game I've seen from Tilt this season, honestly.
There you go. I mean, there's no better place to do it than finals. But that's it for game 2. We're gonna have to wait and see if XG can mount a comeback, or is this gonna be a quick night for everyone, and we're just gonna get to go to sleep early on. Tilt takes the trophy very quickly. We'll have to wait and see. So we're gonna send you to break right now, and make sure to come back in not too long. Hello and welcome back to Eternal League Finals. We're sitting at the cusp of potentially the final game here for TES versus XG Ratatoskr. Man, I'm so glad I don't cast Smite because I know that is a character in Smite, and I would just mess that up every time. Excuse my camera being not focused. Fix that now. Either way, pretty excited to go into Game 3. Obviously, TES, quite dominant victory from Game 2 on to now. How are you feeling? What do you think XG needs to do? I mean, what's your angle?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think XG definitely put up a lot more of a fight in game one. That game two was a bit of a stomp. I think they tried a different kind of off the wall comp. I'm sure that Spoobert's teammates are not happy about that. I think you go for more of a comp like game one. I think Spoobert needs to play a more reliable carry. They need to play these cross maps better. They keep finding really good angles in both of these games and just overplaying their hands so much because they don't respect the rotates, they don't respect the teleports, they don't respect their dive capability. I think if XG plays a bit more of a tempered game, drafts like game one, gets a strong, solid bruiser carry for Spoobert, allows their bot lane to not get stomped in too hard, and make sure that they're at least trading these objectives, they will have a much better time in this game 3.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, we talked about maybe floating the idea of like a range top or a very solid tank in the top lane for that last comp. Because you had such a pick heavy comp, you can't. I don't know if Singed really fits in those kinds of comps. He likes to. He actually Singed would fit perfectly on TES's comp. Where it's a lot more skirmish heavy. You're looking for 3v3s, 2v3s, something like that to actually find the win. Felt like the identity just wasn't fully there across the team. And now you're moving into the next game. Obviously, even more champions are off the table. As far as this last one goes, the Soraka I think is a pretty interesting look that TES found, and now will no longer have access to. And the Skarner also now notably no longer needs to be banned.
Yep, we've got some more power picks off the table. No more Xin Zhao, no more Orianna, no more Cassante, thank God, and no more Skarner. And Jinx is a very prevalent V1 as well, so
Yeah,
I'm
I think
wondering what we'll see as the first round prio for both teams now going forward.
I think it's pretty interesting because now 2 games in a row, I'm much more like, oh, thank God TES doesn't get to play these champions again. I haven't thought that much with XG. I mean, the Skarner was a good one, and game 1 the Hui as well. Like, is it just that they're getting more power picks, or how is this really landing to the point where like it feels like TES just comes out very much ahead, but not like XG hasn't been putting up a fight. It's just felt like it's gone TES's way. So ready to go into draft whenever. Yeah, and now here we go, straight into draft as it is. As you can now see the 20 champions that will not be joining us on the Rift today. Well, not today, now. Yone, once again, getting banned. That is pretty much going to get locked in throughout this entire series. If it goes to 5, it'll be unleashed, and we'll see it then. But so far, since TES has that advantage, they won't have to worry about, losing blue side on game 5.
Yep, typical Fearless. Probably just the same 6 champions we're going to see banned. Maybe XG might change something up if they're a little worried about
Nocturne Wukong here.
maybe an off-the-wall pick, yeah. Interestingly, we haven't seen Corki. I've seen TS put a lot of prio on that. I know KTL really likes that one. So I'm wondering if we'll see some Corki presence in this draft. That's what I'm expecting anyway.
Yeah, that's a good shout, because Corki definitely still strong. Has received fair share of nerfs and a couple buffs over the last couple patches after the rework. But definitely still strong. Has safety, has burst, a ton of damage in the late game. So yeah, kind of surprising not to see it pull up that much. I mean, you also could start pulling into some of the mage bot lane pool. I don't know how strong either of these 80 carries are at that, but it's going to be Ahri first pick. So that's a pretty central identity type of champion. You now have some sort of pick you can rely on. I've seen so many teams fall into the hole of full pick comps where you just draft Ahri, Vi, like a bunch of pick comp champions, and you just run out of damage. So at least be wary of that. But there's the Corki you shouted out. May is going to pick that up. and Syndra is going to be the supplemental lock-in that's gotten banned in the later stages of banning in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I think this makes a lot of sense. The Corki takeaway, I'm guessing they're also reading that TES probably wants to, and there's the Draven. There's KTL's Draven. He shut my team out with this as well in our game 5. That's kind of what I was waiting for if he didn't pick up the Corki. So we're going to have the Draven versus Corki bot lane, and it's going to be paired alongside a Renata. I think that's a good pickup already. There's not many supports that can temper this lane. Yeah, I'm going to be curious to see what McFeeds wants, if he's going to elect to cohere or if he's okay with dropping 2 bans. And
Yeah,
Karthus.
dropping it.
Wow.
Karthus, very interesting. That's going to go into the jungle, of course. Very, very strong champion on the current patch from what I've gathered, but not that played. I think I'd be a little concerned because the jungle pool, yeah, it's pinched pretty hard by these bans, but you can definitely get exploited as the Karthus here. I'm a little scared to see this get locked in here. I will say, TES not really concerned about the bot lane. They feel comfy with this Draven Renata on the bot side. Generally, you'd like to see Braum as a response pick into Draven, but I don't even know if they want to opt into that since your comp has lacking so much engage.
Yeah, I think the Karthus is really interesting. That's really one of those X Factor champions that you slam when you are down 0-2. And there's the Braum that you were talking about.
Yeah, a little bit more safety, and you do get to deny a lot of damage from the Draven, since it does absorb the axe, which is pretty unfortunate. But there's Kayn. Wow. Okay, so Rat Queen Delilah, 5 AD jungler bans. Guess what? There's still more in the game, so Kayn's gonna get locked in, and this Kayn's obviously flexible. You could actually go blue Kayn here. It's not terrible. I do play a fair bit of this champion, and if you see Karthus Corki, you feel pretty comfy. If they don't pick a strong top laner here that's quite beefy, it probably will be a blue Kayn game, but it's going to be Scion, so that just instantly shuts that down. That's going definitely 100% red Kayn here. And, oh man, this is a very interesting draft here. This is what Fearless provides.
Yep. I'm a little split here, honestly. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is not a great Kayn game. I don't think that Kayn has a lot of the setup, especially because mid got the counter pick, so OTF is very clearly happy with this Syndra into Ahri matchup, as well as Spoobert having the Scion into Ornn. And obviously, there's no need to talk about the bot lane situation. I feel like Delilah isn't going to be as free this game on the Kayn against a Karthus. We'll have to see what they can make out of this game, but on the other side, I do think that the double AP mid jungle is always a pretty rough one to see. You grab the Merc Treads on Ornn, you grab the Merc Treads on Ahri, and it's pretty difficult to shred those guys down. I think the big ones to look out for this game, though, are once again the junglers. I think that Kayn and Karthus are pretty crazy picks. You don't get to
Very
see
volatile.
them way too often. Yeah. XG, as I was trying to say earlier, Karthus super X Factor champ. I feel like this is the exact kind of champion you want to slam down when you're 0-2 in a series and you just need some momentum to pull you back in. Because if you have a good Karthus game, you have a good Karthus game. So,
Yeah.
we'll have to see.
Could definitely dominate. I'm a little concerned here because they don't have great engage on the side of XG, and like I don't think they do have good disengage with the Braum and the Syndra, but I don't know if it's good enough for what you're going to be dealing with an Ornn, Renata, Ahri, even a Red Kayn as well. That definitely scares me. You don't have engage, and you don't have enough disengage to feel super comfortable. So I'd be a little bit concerned for the team fights, and yeah, they have some pick potential with the Scatter of the Week from Syndra, and maybe you can find some isolated fights with Scion ulting in. But if you take these raw 5v5s, I think it's going to be pretty difficult unless Corki is super fed. There's always contingencies. If some champs fed, sometimes these kinds of speculation will just go out the window. But yeah, I think this is pretty favored for TES, to be honest. I may be differing. Yeah, I also think Kayn doesn't really care about Karthus early on. You actually clear your AoE camps fast enough that generally you won't be put too far behind, even if Karthus ends up invading you, and you should have lane prio at least in mid for early on. So we'll have to end up seeing how this actually plays out.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think TS is very favored. My only concern is I'm worried if the Kane is going to be shut down here, if they're going to be able to snowball in this early game. I have a dark premonition. I feel like Delilah might be going for a blue Kane this game. I can kind of feel the energy.
Yeah, there's a chance. I mean, it is still Conqueror though, so I think blue Smite's always just the best on Kane. I know people are playing green Smite, red Kane. I think it's trash. Um, so we'll have to wait and see. You do have more targets to get blue from, obviously, since it's 3-2. Um, but you know, it's gonna be a pretty standard look here as Rat Queen Delilah. Definitely a focus player here, as well as Kaz, which kind of felt like that's, yeah, every single game has been. Where is the junglers finding success here?
Yeah.
No crazy invades, which I'm pretty surprised by. I know neither of these teams have great invading, but not even in one of the 3 games when you're in a best of 5 is pretty surprising to me.
Yeah, I mean, it is finals, so people are,
Nerves.
especially in a 2-0, both teams have their nerves. One is on the edge of being eliminated, one is on the edge of the trophy, so I would expect that this game gets slowed down a bit. Oh, maybe not.
Rackman Delilah expects no one to check on the Raptors there, wants to find an early advantage, but that's no Flash Kane, and Kane's not a dueling jungler. You need the Flash to be able to survive getting invaded most of the time, so now it affords a lot of space here for Kaz to just walk in and take a lot of that prio. So let's be a little bit scared if you are Kane here. KTL has the advantage in the lane, as per usual. Corki kind of needs a couple levels to get the Q damage up to be able to trade effectively. And Renata obviously very good at neutralizing Braum engage, if that was ever to come through. So I think it's going to be a pretty rough lane on the bot side. But if they could survive it, which is what you're doing with the Braum Corki, could be good for them. Kaz gonna just clear towards top side and make it simple.
Yep. Keeping it simple on the Karthus, that's the name of the game. That champ loves his full clears. Bot lane's going about as expected. Gonna be shoved in pretty much, probably the whole time for the side of KTL and Kakalin. So I expect we'll see jungle pressure. Oh, nice pull there. I expect we'll see jungle pressure shift a lot more to the bot lane this game. We saw a lot of top fighting, but we've got pretty volatile bot lanes here, so
Yeah,
sure we'll see some more action down there.
yeah, for sure. I mean, at this point, all the lanes seem pretty even. Nothing really too appalling besides Kane kind of behind and pacing. Karthus already finishing on the top side as Kane still has 2 camps left, so you know, this traditional Karthus, you're just super fast clear, and you just use that tempo to kind of snowball. Gonna look for something in mid, maybe could put down a gate, but Ari's already going for a deep ward, or at least staying safe off that side of the map. As Scuttle's just gonna be grabbed up, and I mean, top lane matchup, as boring wet noodle fight as it can be. Ornn sometimes has kill threat on Sion, I've seen that before, but you'll have to take a couple of bad trades for that to happen from Spookart.
Yep, looks like Delilah here is going to look toward mid. OTF went pretty aggressive on a trade there.
Yeah,
No
I
flash
don't
on this
think
game.
has charm. At least gonna get some souls on that, so you know, there's always the upside of Kane during a gank. It's like, oh, I got like a little bit of souls, not too bad. Albina Sunbear just gonna
here?
walk straight through. It's gonna be a full 2v2 in the mid lane. Albina Sunbear needs to flash away. Kaz now in the scuffle. Rat Queen Delilah, remember, has no flash here. Gonna get exhausted by the Karthus, but the Qs are just not landing. Skittles going wide. As gonna grab up a bunch of souls here for Rat Queen Delilah, and that should accelerate the Kane to getting towards that form very quickly. Obviously, it's gonna be all blue stacks there, so if you want the red, you're gonna need to wait for it most likely at this point, with how heavy that trade was.
Yeah, not a pretty sight on the back of that with the Karthus Qs, but nobody died, so not the worst it could have gone. We got a bunch of summoner spells used there, both mid laners using their flashes, Kaz dropping the exhaust, and overall pretty neutral. Not too much happening in this game 3. Almost said game 5. But kind of has to be expected, like I said.
I
Both
mean, with how
teams
crazy
are-
the draft is, it does kind of feel like a game 5, to be honest.
It does.
So Karthus, I mean, has exhaust, which I didn't even note early on, to be honest. So they have double exhaust in this game. No flash on Karthus against Draven. Man, that is brave. At least, you know, if you die, you could still use some abilities, so not the worst. Does at
I
least
respect
grab up a bit of gold. Yeah, I do respect it as well.
That is about as Chad as it gets.
Yeah, but I will say bot lane, the CS lead that's mounting is pretty impressive considering it's completely isolated. No attention from anyone else. Boobert's gonna get called off of the proxy. Weatherneck.
Yeah, I mean, so Kaz and Delilah have opposite pathings here, so they're definitely just looking to trade these objectives here. Spoobert is looking to get the best position he possibly can to deny this Ornn from contesting the grubs at all. Karth is obviously an AP jungler. All AP junglers are amazing at taking the grubs, so it makes complete sense that also with how bot lane is going, that this is the natural order that both these junglers would pick for their objectives. Happy to see XG picking up one of the early objectives and not giving them all over. Definitely a much better look from the last game.
Yeah, they're gonna be able to grab at least one, but Albino Sunbear just solo with the help of the Prio is just gonna force Kaz off of them. Weatherneck kind of in a bad spot here. Gonna need to flash.
Yeah.
Still hasn't committed it yet.
Oh.
Got ulted up by Spoobert. It's gonna get flashed on, and Spoobert's just gonna claim that first blood. 6.5 minutes into the game, the latest we've had all series by a long shot. And now just gonna go for the rest of these grubs. Kaz should be a little scared here. Has
Where's
not
OTM?
enough mana, and now the grubs just reset. Oh, this is taking so long, but no one else is in the area. Spoobert is getting kind of low, but unfortunately it's just Albino Sunbear here. Has the Spirit Rush though. Just gonna look to maybe take the grub if possible. No mana left on the Karthus, and they're gonna lose one in the process. And all in the meantime, Rat Queen Delilah just grabs up all of Karthus's bot side as well as a drag. So pretty much Kane's back in the game, if not ahead at this point. And yeah, Ori is annoying. Is what I just watched there.
I can't help but shake my head at that. That was a 3v2. I'm not sure where OTF went. Went on a little magical journey. But I really think that you just stick on those 3 grubs and grab them all. They still got 2, so nothing,
They'll get 4.
nothing terrible.
know.
They can still get 4. They can still get the mites, but just weird. That was very awkward. Very awkward set of events.
I think that just comes from infamiliarity with playing with Karthus. Like he's not a champion that could kind of solo things if actually pressured heavily. Like it does require extra support. And Sion, once again, I said they have an engage problem where they could just get poked out forever. Obviously, they don't have the best poke champions with the Ahri and the Draven, but it's definitely still gonna hurt if they let these fights go as long as that one did.
Yeah, engage options are limited on XG. They're mainly looking to find a really good counter engage off of Ornn ultis. That means that they're going to need to find themselves in pretty good positions from the beginning, though. We'll see.
That is something I didn't point out as well. Like Ornn actually ult can get canceled by the Braum, which is a little different.
Yep.
May's gonna get killed on the bot side as KTL trades over, so it's gonna be both 80 carries going down. And now Karthus probably gonna grab the trade kill. Braum also going down, and now Karthus gotta hit the Skittles to actually secure this Renata. Gonna get rooted up. Colin walking it out. Just going around. First Skittle lands. Good sign, but Albino Sunbear in the area. Now Kaz is in danger. Sion dying on the top side, getting traded over onto Rat Queen Delilah. Just, you know, action across the map, but 1 for 1 on the top side and 3 for 3 on the, or no, 3 for 1 actually on the bot side.
So much just happened. There was
Yeah,
a lot on there.
I will say Kane going down does mean you do lose some of that soul gain on the top side, so you're not going to get as much as you would anticipate. Primarily, KTL just getting stunned up here, but able to burst a May before anything happens. Oh, the
Renata.
Renata. Yeah, the Renata actually securing a little bit extra HP, and McFeeds is able to at least trade the kill, but Colin's able to chase out the kill, and then there's a super long extended play. Ahri finally walks down and saves Colin's life, and makes it a 3-for-1.
Yeah, and just fancy footwork here from Kakalin. Absolutely playing with this Karthus' emotions, waiting for his mid laner to roam down off that first move. Draven getting the cash out there is absolutely massive. You love to see those when you're Draven, especially given how close it was. He was in the Renata W, he was on the edge of death. And yeah, that's really rough for the side of XG.
Yeah, and obviously Draven getting the kill before going down means you do get the cash out. I believe it was like 300 extra gold, just about, so about 150 stacks cashed in there. And Kakalin is now in the top side. Spoobert's in a dangerous position, no ultimate to get out, so just gonna try and clear the wave, classic Scion style. Gonna get some heart steal stacks as well, but you're going down no matter what. Rat Queen Delilah wants stacks. You could still get stacks off the body. Go, 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 but just decides not to. Just gonna wait out these grubs, which are coming up in about 15 seconds, so they're gonna be able to at least trade over and get all the 4 that the Arya afforded them earlier.
Yeah, and that's
You were
gonna be
you were
4
so
grubs for 'em.
hyped that they got the early objectives, but it turns out it didn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, that's just rough. Probably gonna be Tilt Esports picking up all of these grubs now. They're gonna get to the 4 mark. They have the first Drake. We'll see if XG is able to cross-map this into a Drake. Surely. Hopefully. For them.
They are set up here with no good response here from Tilt, so it should be at least a dragon trade here for the grubs. They are going to stack all 4 members here, and looks like they are walking. They have an inclination that maybe they will just fight after the drag goes down. Gonna get spotted on the control ward, so most likely not any action gonna happen. Back coming out from the bot lane as well. We got the control ward pushing this wave. Keep it classy. Kane looking for a camp on the top side, nothing to be found. So, yeah, I mean, at least they traded something over. They still find themselves down in gold and not necessarily super worried right now because obviously they do outscale as far as actual stats go. How the team play interaction works, don't know if that is going to still work out because I'm always an advocate of easy comps with at least one engaged source that's reliable.
I
So
agree.
unless you're T1, it just gets so hard to play these disengaged comps, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think Tilt is very happy with how that went, getting the 4 for the breakpoint of the might, and going one-on-one on Drakes. It's not like XG super hard outscales them. They're completely fine with this objective disbursement. And obviously KTL's Draven has racked up a significant chunk of gold, going to be turning that into a Bloodthirster very soon, and you're going to have a very strong Draven going into this mid-game.
Yeah, not as exactly accelerated as you'd like to see when you do end up picking Draven, but definitely not weak by any speaks of the imagination, and at least, you know, they've slowed down the game. Obviously, Karthus Corky's very heavy scaling, Scion as well. Ornn not to be scoffed at though. Rat Queen Delilah wants form now. Just gonna commit onto Spoobert here. Do they have the damage to actually take the kill? Gonna cancel the ult with the Kane ult there, but they don't have damage for Spoobert here. Now Kaz is here. Weatherneck, no mana, has flash. Not gonna end up committing it. Just wants to take that to the grave. And yeah, good rotation here from Kaz.
Yeah.
So
Nice counter gank. Get some much needed money in the bank that he is going to require if he wants to carry this game. So
yeah.
pretty big that Spoobert lived there too. I thought he was a dead man after that Kane ult. He canceled the Scion ult, but
Yeah, just no damage on the top side. This should be form when Rat Queen Delilah does
That's
end up
what
going back at least, unless just going for the blue red Kane and ended up on blue Kane form. We'll have to end up seeing. If we don't see form on this back, definitely just has the wrong form and has to wait the timer out.
Yep. We'll see what we're getting.
I mean, a cutscene should be occurring, so we'll see the update soon. Oh,
There it is,
Darken,
Rost.
yep. Of course, you go the Eclipse first. Generally, you're just gonna see Rost, and it definitely helps. You need someone to cut through the Scion if Draven's gonna be focusing on trying to chunk out anyone who walks forward. That isn't Scion. I don't hate it. I think it's pretty good. And
Yeah.
Sion cannot duel a Kayn in a side lane, which is something most junglers cannot say the same for.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I definitely think that the red cane is probably the better option this game. Blue cane's just so fun.
It is
But you
very
know what?
fun.
I don't fault Delilah at all. Oh, we got a big play going on here. 4 members of XG.
Big ult coming through from Matt McFeeds. It's not going to exactly land with good flashes here. KTL's just kind of sprinting around, trying to find the damage. May, the double exhaust working wonders here onto the
Wow.
Draven. Just completely unplayable. I love ADC. Almost still
Yeah.
got a kill onto May anyways, but they committed a lot of resources for that. They're going to lose some damage on the mid lane turret, but since plates are down, it's not as bad of a look here. Rift Herald going to get security here for Rat Queen Delilah, and they're just gonna, yeah, they're gonna make it look good. That at least was a good look there to shut down the Draven stacking again, in this scenario. And then Kayn gonna clean up what is left of this turret. They're probably gonna look for second dash as Ari ults forward, wants to find OTF, but gonna wait out the flash just long enough there for OTF, not committing it early. So, Bino Sun Bear. Not able to land it, and that's still 2 charges on mid lane, and that really opens up the map for this Kayn to kind of roam around and be a real big nuisance.
Yep. On one hand, XG was able to open up bot lane, make this a lot less safe for whoever decides to side lane down here. Gets a nice gold injection and shut down at the Draven. But on the other hand, Tilt Esports is able to trade that back by getting the Herald and double charges, and that's a
Other next dead.
dead one.
Yeah, Dead's Ornn. The E actually got canceled by the Scion ultimate, so there's just no escape left for the Ornn. And Spooper's gonna take the free one on the chin, and they're gonna get the Drake as a result, since Brahm's also on the top side. Interestingly, not exactly sure what this allocation is for lanes.
I think
But I guess-
XG just want to wait for this Corki 2 items. They still think that the Draven's a lot stronger than the Corki in an even fight. They don't want to fight on Drake. They say, we'll just give it up. We'll go cross map top. And because of that kill on the Ornn, they do pretty easily take down that top turret. But OTF is chased down by Delilah here.
Yeah, this might be a little bit deep if OTF actually lands a
Oh.
stun. Rat Queen Delilah not going to find the W, going to get taken down with the trade on the turret. You'll take that at the very least if you are OTF, since you had so much pressure on you. And yeah, Spoobert, pretty strong at this point. As I said, this is kind of why they need the red cane. Corky's going to at least trade out the mid turret onto the Ornn, and that should open up the map. But here comes the ult in mid. Gonna find May. I mean, that's just as simple as it gets. Yeah.
Looks like May wanted to stick around to get that mid turret. Maybe
Sacrifice.
stayed a little bit too long and got taken down by the Ornn. As far as things go, though, this game is very even, I'd say. I think both these teams, there's not one that really stands out as hard outscaling the other, and they're both kind of, whoa.
Wow,
Spoobert.
big ult there to actually cancel out the charm. I don't know if that was a reaction or just preemptive, wanted to find some damage, but that was actually very impressive regardless. Now forced out though, Spoobert has the TP back, but doesn't want to afford the turret's HP. So just gonna end up staying, no real threat to kill, no spirit rush. And yeah, game is definitely stalling, and if you're Karthus, you know, you get a couple more ults in your pocket, and you're eventually gonna be strong enough to really do some serious damage to the backline here for TES.
Yep. As we graze the 20-minute mark, I'd say that we've got ourselves the most even game so far at 20 minutes. I feel like
It's also the lowest kill game. Coincidence?
That's true.
I don't think so.
that is true, and I think that comes a lot in part due to one of these teams is on the brink of elimination and the other one is on the brink of winning it all. So these games will probably start to slow down, and honestly, I'm here for it. It gives me more time to process what's going on, and I like a closer game. I don't know
Yeah.
about you. Maybe you just
I
want to
mean,
go to bed.
I don't need to go to bed yet. I need to eat. I'm hungry. So that's my motivation. But Albino Sunbear is now kind of caught out, gonna be able to dodge away. Rat Queen Delilah finds the knockup and into the handshake from the Renata. Kaz is going down, but will have the damage after death here. Gonna do a lot here, but here comes the Renata ult afterwards. Just great layering of CC from the side of TES. Gonna cancel out on the Orn Horn there, but OTF has no damage and no flash to survive there. And now May too late to the play. Just gonna get forced out from the lane, and just a really well played fight there from TES. They had every cooldown to start that fight, and I feel like they staggered them extremely well. Their kind of reservation on actually pulling the trigger was impressive.
I would agree. I think, oh, here goes May trying to take down KDL. Oh,
Nice
and the
kill.
barrier. Very nice.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I think TS played that team fight very well. I think they recognized the numbers advantage. The Renata ult being held especially was a highlight for me. Holding that to the end and catching off I believe it was the Syndra on the backline off the TP to negate them from getting any meaningful damage into the fight was huge. The Draven ulti on top of the Kane just wreaking havoc was insane. And that put them in a very good position for this game.
Yeah, Rat Queen Delilah, a little scary position, but once again, no engage. You can't force plays unless you have the man advantage, because you don't have the CC to kind of just burst someone out as you normally would with an easy engage here. So you really need to kind of pivot off of the Syndra, but I feel like they just need to survive at this point and then get to a point where your stats can survive the initial onslaught from TES. But yeah, that last fight definitely boded very well for TES,
Ooh.
changing that gold lead from basically nothing to now 2K in just a span of minutes.
Yeah, and I think also a big part of why this Kane got locked in is there's no like real reliable CC on XG side. This Kane can duck in and out of fights as much as they want. I think that's the main reason that we saw this locked in here, and it's definitely paying dividends. So
They're going to
my
find the
bad.
knockup onto Albino
Oh, the
Sand there.
flash!
And now they're going to find a big fight here. A nice block on the Ornhorn, but it doesn't matter. Kaz, no flash. Obviously, with the exhaust there, it's just going to get taken down immediately. And now the fight is wide open. Kane's going to have to escape into that Braum. And the Scion's not going to be able to do enough damage. And that's just a full-on 5v5 win. Nice catch out there, abusing some of the cooldowns that were down from the last fight. Kane's going to grab the Drake, and they're going to crack mid tier 2 here. Maybe they're going to look for more. I mean, Ahri doesn't have flash or ultimate here, but now no scout of the week means that they could technically walk up, but they're just going to leave it at that. Take their winnings while they have them. The kind of control they exhibit is definitely the most impressive thing I've been seeing throughout this series.
Yep. Oh, looks like there's a fight. Looks like TS is just gonna try and back out here on their good tempo from that fight. Their wave mid and top is decent. They'll probably just look to come back in here, establish dominance over the top quadrant, and try and play for some kind of pick or force pull XG into this position that they don't want to be in. You have to remember XG not having the greatest engage. They're more of a counter engage team, so they do not want to walk into these dark spots. They're not very good at clearing them out. Probably why McFeeds is laying down some vision in advance.
Yeah, you definitely need some sort of priority so you can kind of judge your response in these fights, especially with the Karthus. Like, I feel like they're just diving the Karthus. I mean, this is what I would do too if I was in this game. No flash Karthus. Yeah, he has exhaust, but you should have enough survival to be able to survive Karthus when he's dead. He's much less threatening when he's dead, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So, with no flash, it just means you got the biggest target on your back, like, and the Corki's not strong enough to really prop up the fact you're gonna burn a lot of cooldowns to kill this Karthus immediately. So I guess it's really just the waiting game here for XG. But Infernal Soul, 3 minutes. At least they got one Drake that stalled it out. One Drake for these fights. My Queen Delilah just walking forward. They want the red buff. Not gonna be able to steal away. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that's gotten TES to where they are this game is a lot of restraint. We've talked about it. They have all these team fighting ultimates, and XG have a lot of counter engage, but TES is not just blowing everything into the Braum shield deploying everything on top of a Scion, which is exactly what they want. They are being very careful with how they use these important team fight cooldowns, like the Charm, like the Axe, the Whirling Death, sorry, the Renata ultimate, the Ornn ultimate. They're using these at separate times and layering them effectively when it's possible, and peeling back and taking a break when it's possible. So I really appreciate the way that they are playing these fights. They're being very respectful of what their enemies have despite their lead. And if they keep fighting like this, they're going to find themselves the champions of Eternal very soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking good for them. As an outsider, I'm just impressed that they actually do play quite cohesively in these fights. Like, you know, I'm not here for Eternal. I do stream lower level leagues usually, like Vanquisher for instance. Um, so, you know, it's pretty cool to see like, hey, this is what these teams have kind of been practicing for, and if it's finals, you need to bring your A game. Spoobert, full HP here, but gonna get cut down quite fast with the help of the max HP damage from the Kayn. It's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Albino Sunbear at least able to provide a bit more. Marco and Delilah just gonna try and deny clearing the wave, but not gonna be able to do so. So gonna at least shove in this bot wave here as topside just gonna get some resets in since you are weak side now.
Yeah, honestly, I think at that point Spoobert was expecting that. I think he's trying his best to keep one lane of this map pushed out, have a point of pressure so that hopefully his teammates can make something work somewhere else, especially off that gank from Delilah. It doesn't look like they were able to manifest into much. They do get mid push here, which is good, which is important, but I think that's kind of the name of the game for him right now as a Scion, just trying to create pressure wherever he can and lead to some kind of a numbers situation for his team to capitalize across the map. Right now, they're not doing too much capitalizing, though. They've
It's
got
just
the
hard to
setup.
capitalize. It's
It
it's just
is.
hard because you don't have good engage. It's really just the Syndra Scout of the week if you want to find a pick, that is. And right now, since it's Ornn's weak side, I mean, are you really cutting through an Ornn with your current state of champions? Maybe it'll just take a long time, and I don't know if they have that kind of resource abundance to be able to commit that time.
Yeah, and you're looking down the barrel of a Kayn with 3 items, a Draven with 3 items, and those ornaments are now coming online, adding a ton of extra gold value beyond this near 5,000 gold lead we're looking at. And this game is getting scarier and scarier for the side of XG as we see a bit of a fight here.
But Colin has to be a bit careful here. Not going to be able to pop the ult before getting CC'd, but it's not going to matter. Going to hold it down, and now going to pop it now. Kaz is CC'd. Rat Queen Delilah is on top, and Albino Sunbear. I mean, this is just an impressive fight. They found the angle. Nice collapse there from the bottom lane. And Colin is going to go down on the side, but Ornn's going to finish the job on to OTF. And that's Soul. And
That might be the game.
I mean,
feel like they could have ended there.
they're not going to go for the end. They're going to play it safe as Tilt has done all series. They're going to grab up this Drake and then grab up the Baron. Much safer of a victory since you will have Soul and Baron. It's pretty much it's pretty much impossible since the Corki's not going to get to 5 items quick enough.
Yeah, that's Soul, that's Baron, that's lights out for XG. It's pretty impossible from this point on. It will take a miracle for them to come back into this game. Who knows, maybe now that they're absolutely pushed against the wall, they may be able to find something, but this is a 9,000 gold lead. This is Ornaments adding even more of a gold lead. This is Baron and Soul.
Yeah.
It's a daunting task.
They're effectively about 15k gold down because Soul's generally around 5k gold value. Plus also,
yeah.
Plus also you have Baron, which is about 1k gold value. Plus, I mean, you're just so far behind.
You got the Ornn items too.
The Ornn items is another like 300 per gold per 300 400 per item. So, yeah, I mean, this is getting out of control. OTF is also on a ward right now, and the Shrellies is popped. OTF is one-shotted. Goodbye.
Yeah. It's not looking so good. Not looking very good at all.
And I just think like they needed to draft. I understand the strength of the Braum, but you needed to draft some sort of hard engage because it wasn't coming from. I mean, it could have come from top actually for sure, but it's just a hard look. Like you could have went maybe like in my mind, the first champ I think of right now that would have at least done better this game is you just go Zac and just slam Zac top into the Ornn. But that's just
Yeah.
like at that point you're so pigeonholed. It's crazy. So yeah, it's a futile look here.
Yep. TES are knocking on the doors of XG's base. Got Albino Sunbear down there looking for something on a Kaz.
Not gonna find the charm, and now is kind of in no man's land. Spoobert in the area,
They need
gonna
some
get
base.
spotted out, and now your base is dying. Gonna have to peel back. Weatherneck just gonna take the turret up for the teammates, shove out this mid wave, and I expect one more 5v5 look here out of XG. I don't think they're gonna go out without at least putting up a bit of a fight, so I expect an engage here in just a second with the Scion ult. Actually, doesn't have it yet. Gonna have to wait 10 or so seconds. It looks like. As
They might wait for one person to go show on maybe the top wave or the bot wave. We'll see. But if I'm TES, I don't even care, honestly. I'm pretty sure you win a 4v5. I'm pretty sure you win a 3v5 with the right members. So
yeah.
we'll have to see.
They are taking some damage here. Going to cancel out on the... Oh my god, his HP is just
Wow.
completely deleted.
There he goes.
Yeah, and there goes your one engage tool. Now you're going to have to rely on Syndra Stun, which goes wide here. So now they have next wave to worry about. This is just how it goes. Barons are still up here. So we're just going to shove in towards mid. Can this Corki Karthus do any damage to this enemy team? And here comes the Ornhorn. The Braum shield is actually going to run out as it comes out. Mei is going to try and find the kill onto Albino Sunbear. Finds it, but he's going to trade their life for it. And now with Kaz getting caught, that's going to be game 99.999% of the time. And yeah, congratulations, I guess.
Wow. Yeah. There's TES in dominating fashion in this game 3. They come online and they ramp up and they do not slow down. That is going to be it. Tilt Esports World Enders. Wait. Hold.
Oh, they're going to kill KTL.
Ornn's
They're
gonna
going to
get-
kill
Ornn's gonna
Kakalin.
get-
Can they ever kill this Ornn? No, they can't. And that's going to put the final nail in the coffin here for XG. TES takes it quite convincingly. It always sucks to end a best-of-5 grand finals with such a dominant victory, especially in game 3. And it just begs the question, like, was there a chance that this could have gone game 5? I'm not sure. I feel like that game was so definitive, and TS showed throughout this entire series that they are the dominant force. So I think very well played, and they should feel they're very, very comfortable with their victory here.
Yep, that was a very, very convincing victory. No questions about that. Tilt Esports World Enders are your definitive champions of Eternal. Very well deserved. I mean, I think every game was just a masterclass of jungle tracking, of macro game, split mapping, just having the awareness to know what XG wanted to do, what they could do with their tools, and playing perfectly around it so that they couldn't use any of them when they wanted to. I think this is a pretty sour loss for XG. Definitely a lot of these games had some decent drafts that, honestly, I think game 1 and 2, they had the better drafts. But we're not able to capitalize on any of it. And congratulations to Tilt Esports, a well-deserved victory.
Yeah, I think on the side of XG, at least you can, hold your head high that, like, hey, you put up a good fight in some of these games. You had a great lead to start off game 1, actually, that just fell through. You had your top side was just completely dominating there, and then it just did not feel the same after game 1. I feel like that was a tilting loss because of that lead you actually garnered, but it just didn't feel like it matters. Game 3, try and mix it up with the Karthus. Definitely something you're not going to see very often, and there were interesting draft looks here. Like the Singed is definitely another one that you think of, like, oh, that was interesting. Didn't work out, but it gives you some basis to at least play off of in the next one. Like these are mistakes of comp identity or kind of cohesion of how you play something that you can look towards the next split and be like, hey, let's run it back or something like that. I don't think it's a completely negative loss here. and Tilt Esports, they just looked good. And if I have one question for you, basically, well, two actually. First of all, who's your MVP that you would put for this finals?
For this final, I mean, it can't be anybody else but Rat Queen Delilah. It was an absolute, I think, absolute showing of why they are so feared in Emerald Leagues. I mean, I think a lot of people know that Rat Queen Delilah is one of the best out there in Titan, always putting on a dominant performance. Whenever I played a game against them, they were never to be counted out, and I mean, this series showed why. This was an absolute thwacking from them. They took
Yeah,
the objective control, the ganks, and not a lot of mistakes coming out from them this series. So they would be my MVP for sure.
I have a different opinion. This is
You have a different
controversial.
opinion.
This is
Let's hear it.
controversial. I do think Raccoon Delilah performed extremely well. However, I think Kakalin was extremely
That
good.
would be my second. That would be my second.
And I would give it over there. But you know, we're counting straws here. Every player on this team looked great. Even Weatherneck came back in that first game where it looked completely doomed. So I'd say pretty good here. I'd say my condolences over to Kaz. I feel like Kaz had a pretty good series here, but just felt like the rest of the team, or as a whole, as a team, they just were a little bit far behind. But that's going to be it here for Eternal League Fall Finals. We will definitely see you guys back again for next year. Obviously, wait for the announcement for all the leagues and stuff, but this will not be the final league for Titan Esports. So look forward to that. But I've been Golden Gad. I've been joined by the lovely Jacob, who I never knew about you before. You're a homie. Good stuff. And shout out to production, Sherigan, and Loki holding it down in the background. And yeah, have a good break if I don't see you yet again. And yeah, enjoy Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Good night.
All my life, by my side. All my life, all my one time from side to side.